What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is DC 420 LA Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state. I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely. You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Terrorists keep terrorizing.
Well, the good people of Oklahoma are having some issues as government corruption over the medical marijuana law gets even more swampy. And giving recreational marijuana a push on the ballot. Big news about that. More GOP on POT as a Tennessee candidate for governor uses Trump as medical marijuana support in their campaign ad, her campaign ad. Meanwhile, Democrats are blocking marijuana banking, and California has banned CBD from industrial hemp. Reno to San Francisco road trip roll-up, plus all of this week's marijuana news. This is DC 420 LA.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Now broadcasting on WeTV, the Cannabis Media Network.
This drug is dangerous. You cannot play with it. It's not funny.
Well, we would find it hilarious at times, actually. Beauregard, it's very funny. I'm really peeking. Guys. Sorry. No peeking. Nobody likes a peeker. But let's see. Oh, yeah, there we are. Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy 420. We're back. We're back in the home studio. This is indeed DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed. We made it. Yes, we made it. This is a show where we spark up. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. We spark up, get together, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot and cannabis cures. And of course, when I say we, I mean Coach Chella. What's going? Did you turn your mic back on?
Oh, did I? Oh, I don't think I did. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah,
I got it now.
Say a few words.
I'm a few words.
Oh, very good. Perfect. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Everybody's jumping in the chat. We got Daily Dope Show just jumped in. We've got Vegan Metro in the
Caesar
chat.
Go.
Caesar Go.
Mary Kellerman.
Mary Kellerman, welcome,
Hey,
Mary.
everybody.
Welcome to the show.
And Deanne Niles. And Vegan Metro. And Small Tubes.
Small Tubes.
Making some clones.
Welcome, everybody.
Awesome,
welcome.
everybody. It's great. Bob Hammond. Awesome. Sweet. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Of course, welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed, back on all of our platforms, streaming over Facebook, Periscope, let's see, D-Live, of course, Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network, and Twitch.
All the things.
And Twitch. We're back on all of the platforms, of course, because last week we were out of town. We were on a road trip. And we did do a check-in for our folks here on YouTube, which a lot of you jumped in, and it was a lot of fun. We're going to play a little bit of that from that here coming up real quick before we get into the news. It was a lot of fun. We went to some great places.
It was fun.
Starting off in Reno. But welcome, everybody, to the show. Thanks for joining in again, everybody. We're back. We will be back on the road, actually, again next week, and we're going to do a check-in. But the good news, Chella, more good news, of course. Well, there's always good news. But I found out very quickly last week now there's an app that I can restream from the phone and get it out to all the platforms.
Oh, my goodness.
So our mobile check-in will go out over all these platforms are going out over to now. So, and the chat is going along the bottom. So whatever platform you're in, drop a note. It'll come up on there and we'll try to give you a shout out if you're on a not so obvious platform like Twitch and D-Live. If you're joining in on D-Live, welcome Steamian Stoners. Welcome the Steamic blockchain community. If you're on D-Live, drop a note in their chat and I'm keeping an eye on that. So welcome everybody to the show. This is DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed. Of course, this is, we are on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and all of the socials, as Vegan Metro likes to say, on all of them. At DC 420 LA. You can find us out there, whatever we're on, including Instagram, where you will be able to check in on the paparazzi.
Oh my God, they're so cute.
Of DC 420 LA.
And I'm not even the one posting these pictures. Not even me.
I know. Currently, I have a new one to put up,
they're
too.
so cute.
We have been posting pictures of course, our newest member, Jack, who had
Jackpot, the cute dog.
Jackpot had the procedure, but we were not happy with the simple plastic cone that was provided by the folks that did the scrotum scrape. Left his scrotum, by the way. Never seen that.
Oh, Dave.
But we'll talk about that on another show. So we got him the lion. We got him the Lion King, and this, of course, is the king. We actually, believe it or not, we started with a larger size than this. We started with a larger size, but this was the one we had when he got home, so we had to try that on. But then we got the new one. The new one came. We went from. This was cute. This was a cool shot out in the jungle.
Oh,
sleeping out there.
He's such a cute boy.
Jungle. He's such.
All right. But that's not our thing.
And that's his new. That's his new one.
I think this is another show also.
And it came up. I mean, it came up in the chat already. So I want to make sure we cover this because the question was.
We're going to find out.
Is the Lion King still on Jack? And the question is, can't really see him. It's kind of hard to see.
He's down in the corner there.
Kind of hard to see. And you can't see him because he's not wearing.
He's not wearing the lion cone.
He's in a bit of a convalescent mode.
Yeah. But we will put it on him later when we're not watching him. But right now he's chilling and he doesn't need it. Anyway.
He's chilling. Everybody's chilling. Oscar is in the...
we digress.
The journeys, you can follow the adventures of Oscar Grumbledore, Jackpot, and Boo Boo over on Instagram at DC420LA.
Veg Scrog Bloom.
Veg Scrog Bloom. Jumping in. Everybody jumping in. Let's get into it. Let's just take a quick peek at a little bit of our adventure.
Recap it.
We hit 4 really. We hit one. I hit a dispensary in Reno.
The dispensary
in Reno.
Yeah.
The only one. It's a very lovely place, actually.
It is. It's very pretty. It's called Mint. Anyway, we digress.
So went there, and then we moved on. We moved on to San Francisco, where the weed is readily available.
Plentiful in most places. However, a couple places did complain about the apocalypse.
They did. They did complain about it. Grams were what really kind of...
grams are hard to find.
Hard to find. And so we were on the road.
Not a problem for us.
We went to 3 places, and we'll kind of go over those when we get back from this clip. But we want to talk about. But in this little clip, we were on the road, and we wanted to stop at 420 on last Sunday and do a little check-in. So we checked in live at 420, and we just happened to be in a lovely little town called Dublin, California, where it's not a dry county. We double-checked. We double-checked. Not a dry county. And we met a great little park. And the
cemetery.
Yes, but boy, I'll tell you, it was dead. It was a great place to shoot it. So
there was actually a lot of traffic.
Although there was a lot of traffic, and apparently the residents don't mind, so they put cemeteries next to, or they put freeways next to cemeteries. Brian Arbor. And Brian Scher, not Brian Arbor.
Sure.
Welcome to the show. And let's take a look at just a little check-in at some of our adventures last week. Some kind of an art project.
Okay, so when we were at Barbary Coast, we met this wonderful fellow who has started a group called the San Francisco Social Club 415, a little before 420. Older fella. Lovely guy, and
who shall go name nameless.
He turned us on to a place called Urban Farm, which I actually had looked up, and it looked great, but I didn't think it had a vapor lounge, so it fell off my list. But he said, "Oh yeah, not only does it have a vapor lounge, but they have a dab bar." So we're like, "Oh my God, dab bar! We're there!" So we went, and it's a small place. Good selection, though. They had lamb's bread. Super hard to find. We got a whole 8 of lamb's bread.
And they're appropriately...
Very excited.
And I got to say that Barbary Coast and the second one, Urban Farm.
Urban Farm, third one.
They had the third one. They had excellent stock and excellent selection.
Yeah.
The 1 gram thing, lack of grams, is because I think it's just impractical for manufacturers, distributors right now to be doing 1 grams and eighths are really, because it has to be packaged individually like this, you know, or like this.
This is an eighth of Maui Wowie. Oh no! We just dropped the glass lamb's bread jar.
See what you can do. This is what you would call a cannabis crisis. To continue.
That's it. That's all. Got nothing else to say.
Not my finest
Everything
moment.
was great. I gotta go. Peace out. Going back to LA.
Someone's gonna rescue our lamb's bread. Someone's gonna rescue our lamb's bread. But this was a pretty good morning. The 3 dispensaries we ended. It was a pretty good morning until I broke the
the
jar of the coveted lamb's bread.
Oy vey, oy vey.
Yeah,
it's all right. It worked out fine. There was no glass in the coveted lamb's bread.
Yeah, it didn't shatter.
We made it okay.
Believe me,
it was all right.
If it went in, and if it was more than an eighth, it would probably would have been left in that cemetery. So
I was pretty bummed out about it.
The fire, breathing fire. Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah, that wasn't my finest moment.
And you could hear the glass break. That deserves. I think it needs a slow mo. We're gonna slow mo that.
Shit. Clip. That was so funny.
But that was it was actually a really pretty cool.
We made it through.
It was a pretty cool trip.
It was so much fun being able to go to a place and be social with other people who were doing the same kind of stuff. The dab bar was super fun. I wish we could broadcast from there and do it, do the thing.
Well,
I think we should make a pitch to it.
We were kind of talking about that.
Yeah, we should make a pitch to them. Send them a link to the show and make a pitch to do it, because it'd be really fun. There's nothing like that in LA, although there is a little club that I know that I did go to this week with a girlfriend.
And which has been there for a while.
It has. And it's not like it's secret. I mean, there's like big signs and Yelp and like the whole thing, and
they've done
it's weird. I don't understand how it's possible.
Not Leafly, maybe what's the other one? One of those big corporate channels have done that.
But it's great. It's great having a social place. I especially liked Urban Farm because of the dab bar with the bartender attending the dabs, and it really did create a social environment for other people, strangers, to interact and talk about relevant issues.
And that's Urban Farm UP
it was great.
Farm.
Yeah, PH Farm.
I really enjoyed both Urban Farm. I thought was tops because of the dab bar was just very cool.
Yeah.
But I really dug the vibe and the space, because Urban Farm is really tiny.
At Barnaby Coast.
At Barnaby Coast.
Yeah. Urban Farm was like a hipster bar that's really hard to get into. It's really small, but super great. Awesome inside.
And
really lovely.
They were super helpful.
Yeah.
And,
Burberry Coast had an amazing selection. They were obviously the super experienced people who were totally ready.
Coast, not Burberry.
Yeah, not Burberry. Barbary Coast. It was very loungy and also social. That's where we met our friend who started the social club, who wishes to remain nameless.
Right. With
pretty funny.
Oh, wait, here they are. Is this their? Oh, that's okay. So, Urban Farm.
Oh yeah, it was great.
That's the one with the dab bar and the tiny. They're called the steampunk dispensary.
Oh yeah, it felt that way.
Yeah, and it was very aptly decorated, and but that was cool. And then we went to Spark. Which
we did Spark also.
The vape only, which was...
That was the first one we went to, and it was great because it just got better and better and better. So I highly recommend. I feel like we should chop up that segment and make it like a travel log.
And we were convinced the volcano might be the way to go.
Yeah. What do you guys think as far as big home use vaporizers? Do you think volcano, or do you prefer another one?
Because we do like our J's, but...
joints are great, but I really do like the volcano.
Every time I've used a volcano,
it's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. I guess we should get into the news.
I guess we should, but that was you can watch our whole segment. It's a 15-minute off on the road. That was the funniest.
It was fun.
But,
yeah, that was the funniest part.
We get into all those places. Pretty much just what we talked about here.
Yeah.
But we are going to check in again next week from Maui. We're going to be on Maui.
There are
Sunday,
no lounges other than the lounge on the lanai.
Yeah, so it'll probably be from my brother's backyard.
If they let us.
If they let us, yeah.
We could go to Diane and Nikki's house and do it from there.
Maybe that. We'll figure it out.
That's what we'll do.
We'll spend, $4.20 over at Diane and Nick's.
A different time zone.
Right. So it'll
Hawaiian
be,
time.
Oh, yeah, it'll be Hawaiian time. So that'll be
1 o'clock LA time.
1 o'clock Pacific.
1:20.
Or is it 2?
Oh, I don't know. We'll let you know.
Yeah, because it changes with Hawaii. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna get into the news.
Yeah, let's do it. Go.
What's going on in the news this week?
Oh my God, the health departments are going rogue.
The health departments across
the
state.
They're little fiefdoms. They think they got it all under control. Nope.
And the corruption.
The corruption with the health departments in the states. It's nice that everybody's so interested in the corruption and exposing it now because of the orange turd. So it's nice.
Well,
that's a good thing.
I guess you gotta give credit where credit's due.
So keep exposing the corruption.
We got more GOP going to POT down on the South.
I love that.
With a full-fledged campaign ad for the gubernatorial race and embracing cannabis and calling out Donald Trump for his support.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good ad. We're gonna have a couple of stories with that in the southern block when we get into, of course, most of the news this last couple of weeks out of the South has been out of Oklahoma.
So let's get into it.
Shall we? Indeed. Oh, wait. Such bad timing. Volume was down. Let's try that again. So let's get into...
Dave's favorite thing.
He'll enjoy Oklahoma's wide open spaces. He loves to run and run and run.
In the marijuana fields.
Through the wheat fields.
Totally.
So, it all started just 2 weeks ago when the great state, the good people of the state of Oklahoma, overwhelmingly, despite $500,000, seems kind of low, $500,000 of anti-ads and push and calling in religious people.
Some might even say a landslide.
Some would say a landslide. Daily Dope had said and predicted. We had predicted even more than Tom Angel even think it was going to be this big of a landslide. But so we have the landslide with the most liberal, most progressive, let's call it progressive, most progressive medical marijuana law in the nation.
Yep.
Written as such in very simple language. And immediately, behind closed doors, secret meetings. Love that. Love the secret meetings.
Which they're not allowed to have.
They're not allowed to have. They throw a bunch of crazy rules together.
Crazy rules.
That everybody's like, what?
That were not with the intent of a plain language law.
Oh, that's obvious. Mm-hmm. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Clearly.
Of the potberg, of the bud, the tip of the cola.
Tip of the cola.
The tip of the cola, as it were.
Yeah.
So then, the head of the Department of Health resigns out of exposing herself, or someone exposed the fact that she faked an email account on Proton.
Threatening herself.
Which is actually a very good encrypted email server. But she outed herself for threatening herself, a federal crime, as Daily Dope pointed out this week. You create a fake email and then commit crimes like this, it's federal.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's just like mail.
And then we find, and of course there was a lawsuit filed, right? Lawsuit filed by the supporters because of the rules. And then she resigns. We find out charges are being filed. Then we also find out that she's taken bribes from the pharmaceutical guys.
Of course she was.
Pharmaceutical head of the pharmaceutical place.
She resigned from there and drove straight to the pharmaceutical lobby's office.
Well, this is all coming out. It was all happening at the same time.
Oh my gosh, it was a crazy, crazy week.
But the thing is that, but we find out, this is not cannabis did not make them crazy. This is
these people don't use
reefer
cannabis.
madness. This is not reefer madness, man. They've been corrupt for a long time. This group, they've got issues way before cannabis. This is just pot for the course, with this nonsense.
This is how they roll.
And she got caught, and now the lawsuits have been amended.
These white women are making white women look even worse. Sucks.
And now, people that voted against the medical marijuana law are signing the petition for the recreational question. Because fuck you, liberté! You bastards! So, and we just heard breaking news. Somebody put a comment on the video I put up. One of the videos we're playing. I'm hoping that's true. They're just 6,000 signatures away from their goal.
Oh, that's exciting.
Which, of course, they're dragging their feet. There was a great comment. I think was it Deanne? One of our viewers left a comment that said, leave it. They got busted, and now they're going to drag their feet on the law and make sure it's not. That's because
all those people need to be replaced in November.
It's going to be another 2 years, people. Sign that damn petition in Oklahoma. Tell people in Oklahoma, sign the petition. They're trying. Hopefully, there's just 6,000 away from their goal of 150,000, and so they'll have extra, so they can start the counting and They got to GoFundMe to hire people, because they'll probably do that too. The government will say, "Oh, you have to hire your own counters."
Oh no!
So
don't what if
counter volunteers, right?
Don't what if.
So all right, so let's check out some news coming out of
Play the guys.
Oklahoma, where the weed comes growing down the plain. All right, here we go. Play the guys. The guys.
I like the guys.
Right, this is from last week. Here we go.
Start with the guys.
What do you think about the attitude that people didn't know what they were voting on?
Well, the people do know what they're voting on. People in Oklahoma are a lot more educated than the legislators give them credit for. Mm-hmm. People read the bill, they liked it, and they voted on it 57%, over 57%. At the same time, we were also running State Question 796 and 797. They know what bills they're signing when they sign those bills.
No smokable. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's just ridiculous. No smokable, because you can smoke it and you can vape it. There's so many different ways to take cannabis. When you vape it, it's a cooler temperature and it's easier. Some people can't smoke. Some people don't like to smoke, but they can vape and take it, and it's a lot easier to take.
But the argument inside there was that smokables also create a number of toxins that people should not be inhaling.
Well, let's do some research on it. What kind of toxins does it produce? Nothing like cigarettes, which are totally legal.
Yeah, well, I think the conversation needs to be had that, if there are some medical or some health risks involved with smoking it, that needs to be something that's addressed and made publicly aware. And people need to be free to make their own choice of how they consume their medicine. And at least in this aspect, you can take the same flower, the same leaf, and you can smoke it, or you can vaporize it, but you purchase it in the same form. And vaporizing has almost no health risks whatsoever. And people need to be free to go in and purchase the flower and use it in a vaporizer. Or, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the voters of Oklahoma, they need to be free to go in and purchase whatever they want. That's why we passed this bill.
And one thing that just wasn't right to us was holding a closed door meeting. All of our meetings have been perfectly open door. Everybody come on in, let's talk.
What about limiting the number of dispensaries? Does that encourage a black market?
Well, yes, that's going to encourage a black market, because when I was a pain management person, I would be sitting up in the waiting room, and people would come up and they'd been driving for 2 hours to get to a pain management doctor because there wasn't one in our town, or they couldn't get to one that's closer. So 2 hours to come to it, and you got to be ready for a urine test every time you get there and stuff. So yes, limiting dispensaries, no, that's just not right.
I think the voters in Oklahoma didn't have a good idea of the way it was going to be implemented. I think that nobody had any idea that we were going to limit the THC levels. Nobody had an idea that there were going to be such heavy restrictions on this bill. I'm sure that there's a little bit of legal ground to cover as far as what you can regulate in a state question, because the language can't be changed. Am I wrong?
In a state question, well, it's going to be regulated. It's the legislators and stuff like that. They can change it. We knew
it's going to be regulated.
But there's just over regulation that they're running with. That's just something we can't. People don't like.
Is this insulting for the people who
It is insulting to the patients. I mean, patients are suffering out there. The patients I talk to every day that need this medicine, they want off opiates. They want off all the whole salad of drugs that they're on. They want to be able to grow a nice, pure, clean medicine and get the relief that they want.
I love their slogan, "Green the vote."
Yeah, it's good.
And this year it is the vote.
Yeah, 2018 for sure.
Major green this year, people. It always is.
In Oklahoma, they should have called that special session to create the rules like they wanted.
Well, they are, we'll see in the news the second they're coming up. They're starting to meet next week, every week. So, an open door meeting.
Like you're supposed to do. Play the next segment.
Like you're supposed to do.
Here we go.
Watching 2 works for you at 10.
I think it would be good. Be good for the economy and everybody, so.
Only on 2, controversy brewing across tribal land tonight after Oklahoma voters approved medical marijuana. Many tribal members are wondering how its leaders will adopt the new law.
2 Works 2 reporter Tony Russell is live in Tahlequah tonight, answering the biggest question there. Is marijuana still illegal?
And I'm told it is. I'm told the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council, those lawmakers are watching the Oklahoma rollout. But as far as the Cherokee Nation Attorney General's office is concerned, at this point, if you do get one of those medical marijuana licenses and you come onto tribal land, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Under tribal law, the Cherokee Nation says marijuana in any form is still legal. That's despite the sweeping reforms passed in Oklahoma by citizens.
You are a tribal citizen, Cherokee or any other tribe, and you cross onto tribal land, you're violating tribal law. If you're a non-Indian, you may be violating federal law.
The Cherokee Nation, just like other tribes across the country, are sovereign and still have their own rules, laws, and constitutions, even for marijuana.
It's important for us, and we're watching what the state is doing. First of all, the timing of when people actually are able to receive licenses and have the product in their possession is important for us.
Right now, the tribe is making sure its citizens and its employees know the current laws. One example is Indian health clinics. Most, if not all of them, are federally funded. Tribal officials say don't expect to see any medical marijuana licenses or dispensaries popping up there anytime soon. Some citizens believe it's time for the tribe to follow what Oklahomans did at the ballot box.
I think it should be accepted all the way around.
Others see why there could be issues.
I can understand both sides, why they wouldn't pass it. There'd be some legal issues there. So I could see why the Cherokee Nation would be strict about wanting to pass a drug.
Roll that beautiful bud
And just like State Question 788, the Cherokee Nation tells me citizens within the tribe could circulate its own petition and get medical marijuana passed into law. Reporting live in Tahlequah, Tony Russell, 2 Works for you.
And now, My 2 Cents with Kelly Ogle.
Before the primary election last month, Amanda and I studied State Question 788, the medical marijuana initiative. I went back over it again today, and it dawned on me that the word smokable wasn't anywhere in these 5 pages. In fact, no form of the word smoke in here at all. So why is that? It's darn sure in the news these days because the State Board of Health issued emergency rules for the use of medical marijuana in Oklahoma that banned the sale of smokable marijuana. Medical groups urged that restriction, which is understandable with the known dangers of smoking anything. But when 57% of Oklahoma voters passed State Question 788, I believe the overwhelming assumption was that most of the medical marijuana would be smoked by patients. The Board of Health surely knew the same thing, but overrode the will of the people anyway. Well, today the Attorney General wrote the Health Commissioner, the current rules, quote, contain provisions that are inconsistent with the plain language of State Question 788. And trust me, if you read this, it is plain language. They overstepped their authority, he said. And whether you are for or against medical marijuana, it is wrong for a panel of 9 people to revamp a law passed by 500,000 Oklahomans.
Liberté!
That's my 2 cents.
That's
my 2 cents, too.
Good evening. We're glad you're with us tonight.
We're on board.
A medical marijuana advocacy group is...
Let's be clear about that. That's 6 cents.
2 cents each. And I bet everybody in the chat.
So
and there's 24 people watching.
So we got at least over 50 cents.
Or math. All right, go on.
Continuing on. Meanwhile, as the plot thickens in Toklahoma.
Love that, Vegan Metro, Toklahoma.
Oklahoma, where the weed comes sweeping down the plain. All right, we're going to work on that.
Good evening. We're glad you're with us tonight. A medical marijuana advocacy group is amending its lawsuit now after allegations surfaced concerning former Health Department Attorney Julia Zell and Pharmacy Board Director Chelsea Church.
Our News 9's Christy Lewis is live at the state capitol with the changes.
What?
It's enough to make these guys get
Amanda Kelly, this original lawsuit filed by Green the Vote targeted the state, Governor Fallon, the Department of Health, and its board members, but now more state officials will be added to the list of defendants. As the Board of Health implemented regulations for State Question 788, medical marijuana advocacy group Green the Vote claims the Open Meetings Act and Administrative Procedures Act were violated, according to a lawsuit filed last Friday. And since then, nondoc.com released text messages between former OSDH attorney Julia Zell and Board of Pharmacy Director Chelsea Church about a job offer. Church reportedly saying, "You get me a pharmacist in dispensary and then come to our office. I guarantee I can do more than you have now."
We didn't think it was going to come out in that manner. We didn't think that they'd be dumb enough to apply pressure to an attorney. But we knew that there was pressure applied from various sources. We didn't really at that time realize that the pressure was coming from another governmental board. That was shocking. We think this goes much deeper than that, though, and I think that this is all going to become clearer as we investigate and conduct depositions in this case.
Ronald Durbin, attorney for Green the Vote, says they'll be adding Zell and Church as defendants and seek out anyone else who may have been involved. Green the Vote is also renewing its call to district judges in Oklahoma County to impanel a grand jury to investigate and asking DA David Prater to look into the matter. And Green the Vote will be bringing on Oklahomans for Health as another plaintiff in this case. These amendments will be made on Monday. Live on the scene on the story, Christy Lewis, News 9.
Well, next week, a bipartisan group of state lawmakers will meet to discuss implementing the newly passed medical marijuana law. News 9's Aaron Brelbeck is covering the Capitol.
The rules were supposed to be put in place by the State Board of Health, but the board came under recent controversy, first according to the Attorney General's office by passing rules that were outside its scope and outside the will of the people. The controversy continued with a strange series of events involving the health department's lawyer. Department of Health attorney Julia Zell this week was accused of sending herself threatening emails tied to medical marijuana. Text messages obtained by nondoc.com show the head of the Oklahoma Board of Pharmacy appearing to offer Zell a job if she includes a requirement that pharmacists must be placed in medical marijuana dispensaries. Lawmakers say the people who voted for State Question 788 have lost faith in the Department of Health, so now they say it's time for the legislature to take over.
We've heard from our constituents. They feel like the process has not been the will of the people right now, and we're going to step in and do what we can to make that happen.
A bipartisan group of 13 lawmakers will meet weekly starting Wednesday.
The overall goal is to implement the language in 788, which is the will of the people. And that's where I think the Department of Health got off base.
The Legislative Committee will then present its recommendations to the Board of Health for implementation.
If they cannot, or they disagree with the state question so vehemently that they refuse to do so, then we need to go ahead and get a special session called.
Bureaucrats and politicians need to just do what the people tell them to do when we have votes of the people. And that's the problem with what happened with the Board of Health. If they would have just implemented the will of the voters, we wouldn't be in this problem right now.
And those weekly meetings will be open to the public. On the scene on the story at the State Capitol, Aaron Brelbeck, News 9.
On the scene on the story.
That wraps up the whole thing, pretty much.
There's this.
There was big drama all week.
Just one more video.
Oh, sorry.
It's very unlikely it'll make the November ballot.
Oh, this
guy. A matter of timing, not the amount of support. It's what Oklahoma Secretary of State James Williamson says could keep the vote on recreational marijuana off the November ballot. The pro-cannabis group Green the Vote is leading 2 petitions around Oklahoma. One is for State Question 796. Full medical access to cannabis. The other, 797.
788, they've been saying it's recreational.
I love this
so
guy.
we came out with 797. We'll show you what recreational is.
We'll show you.
Bring Oklahoma out of the slump that it's in. Let's look at the taxes we can do.
John Frazier with Green the Vote has been going around store to store within the metro, helping collect the 125,000 signatures required for each ballot by August 8th. Right now, there are about 20,000 short for a recreational pot.
And we're shooting for 150,000 signatures because we know count on 10% of the signatures being ineligible and stuff like that. So we want to be well over our goal.
If their goal is reached, Secretary Williamson says they'll first need to hire people to count the signatures.
It would then have to go to the Supreme Court to certify that there's a sufficient number of signatures. And then after that, there's a 10-day notification process by publication.
And I talk really slow, so it's going to take a long time for me to tell them
must be
what
done
to
by
do.
August 27th. This process, he says, generally takes about 60 days.
To give you an example, the last time we did something similar to this, it was with State Question 788, which was
when
just
we screwed you
voted
all
on.
before.
And that was turned in 2 years ago, and it did not make the November ballot because of the same timing issues.
Yeah, and that was thanks to Pruitt, A.G. Pruitt. I believe it might be what he's referring to. Yeah, and we just heard the update. Somebody left a comment, said they're about 6,000 signatures away to get that process going, involving the Supreme Court and other things.
We'll show you what recreational is.
We'll show you.
I love that guy. I want to friend him. Maybe he'll be on the show. Maybe he can be on somebody's show. You know what? I don't want anybody on the show, actually.
I want everybody on the show.
Maybe he can be on somebody's show.
Daily Dose.
Yes.
Or Alexis, when Alexis wants to.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So there you go. There's a little rundown of the news out of Oklahoma and where we at. They're starting the regular weekly panels next week on the, I guess it's back at the health department without its corrupt leader.
Those jerks.
And the lawsuits continue.
As they should.
As they should. But they've got oh no, that's another story. They've only got 30 days, right? Isn't it 30 days this law says they've got to get it together? So we'll keep an eye on Oklahoma. And just, since we're going out of Oklahoma into the next state.
He'll enjoy Oklahoma's wide open spaces. He loves to run and run and run.
But moving on in the South, you were saying?
No, it's fine. Move on. Move on in the South.
Moving on in the South, it's Cannabis 2018. Green the vote indeed, as the gubernatorial aide, longtime Politico. She's been.
I think she's the next governor.
You think so?
Huh? Of Tennessee, I do.
You think this is going to do it?
I think she's the next governor.
All right. Well, let's take a look at her ad, shall we?
Let's.
I am the only Republican candidate for governor who supports legalizing doctor-prescribed medical cannabis. Many suffer: veterans, children with seizures, cancer patients, our elderly. I just know if it were my loved one, I would want this option. President Trump agrees.
I think medical should happen, right? Don't we agree?
Opioids must not be our only option for those in pain. Vote for me, Beth Harwell, for governor, so doctor-prescribed medical cannabis can help our loved ones.
Today I'm addressing what is, I think, an issue of dignity of life for many Tennesseans suffering from debilitating illnesses and injuries. Too many Tennesseans are suffering in pain with dangerous opioids as their only option. This includes children suffering from seizures, cancer patients, our veterans, and the elderly. Recently, President Trump, as you saw, voiced his support for legalizing medical cannabis and leaving the decisions up to state government. During the past year as Tennessee Speaker, I supported the efforts to allow opioid under the recommendation of a licensed healthcare professional. As governor, I will pursue this option that is right for Tennessee and has overwhelmingly citizen support. I have with me today Dr. Jeff Cook and Dr. Bruce Wolf, who can not only address the medical implications, but personal experiences as well. It's important to note that we are not talking about recreational use of cannabis, nor are we talking about smoking marijuana. What I am advocating are the use of oils and additives that have been proven to provide tangible medical benefits. 15 other states have some form of legalized medical cannabis. I am confident as governor, I can craft, with the help of the Tennessee General Assembly, a law that not only respects law enforcement, but also restores the quality of life to those that are suffering from debilitating pain and reduce our dependence on opioids. It is important to give medical professionals one more treatment option, as well as patients medical freedom to receive a treatment that best meets their health concerns. No one has been more vocal than I when it comes to reducing our dependency on opioids. All my opponents either reject this option for suffering Tennesseans, or they say, let's wait for a federal bureaucracy to act. I remind them that opioids were duly approved by that federal bureaucracy, and they are destroying people's lives here in Tennessee. This is a compassionate care issue, and if I know that if I had a loved one suffering, I would want this option.
House Speaker Beth Harwell now hoping to make medical cannabis an issue in the fiercely competitive governor's race.
State Capitol Newsroom reporter Chris Mungard saying she's trying to stand out from her opponents.
House Speaker Beth Harwell upped the ante here at the state capitol Friday in her bid to become the Republican nominee for governor.
I think medical should happen, right? Don't we agree?
Beth Harwell cites President Trump in what is likely the first ever television ad on medical cannabis or marijuana from a candidate for Tennessee governor.
As governor, I will pursue this option that is right for Tennessee and has overwhelmingly citizen support.
And you're going
As
to win.
House Speaker, Harwell
Overwhelmingly
this past year
citizen
supported
support.
unsuccessful efforts to allow non-smokable oil-based cannabis for a wide range of severe conditions such as cancer or seizures.
Remember,
On
I'll
Friday,
take it for now.
she also brought some doctors' opinions about cannabis.
It's a naturally occurring plant that has incredible medicinal purposes.
He's got a white coat on. He must be
As Jeff
talking about.
said,
There's another
this
one.
is something that also can help
Bald with
minimize
glasses,
the
too.
use of opioids in our society.
I know that if I had a loved one suffering, I would want this option.
All the other Republican nominees for governor remain a firm no on medical marijuana.
Yeah, they're going to remain
Reporting
not
from the
governor
state
of
capitol,
Tennessee.
Chris Bungard.
For county
I'm with you,
commissioners.
Dave.
What's that?
I'm with you, Dave.
Yep. Beth Harwell.
She wants to stand out. The reason she's saying that it has overwhelmingly citizen support, those are the voters. That's why she's doing it. She may not even care about medical marijuana, but she understands how to get votes.
She knows how to exploit
She
it.
knows enough to exploit it.
I know enough to exploit it.
Whatever.
I tell you who,
Go girl.
who else appreciates this stance is our good friend Alexis Bortel.
Oh, yeah?
She tweeted, I am personally asking every Tennessee governor
kidding.
candidate to publicly do the same, and please tag me in the post.
Nice.
Hope. Well, we're going to keep hoping. But
Hey, I love it.
they're firmly against
I will
sorry.
take incrementalism.
That other additional picture was not part of Alexis's post.
I will take incrementalism as, in this case, as it pertains to cannabis.
Indeed. I'll take it. No,
I'll take it.
But this is just Cannabis 2018, people. This is the overwhelming public support for this issue
Across the country, everywhere.
in Tennessee. So we have the
Yeah.
a woman governor candidate, female governor candidate,
She's
running
white.
on marijuana.
What are you going to do?
Hey, Dave.
It's a good
Glad
place
you
to
made it
start,
back.
I guess.
Facebook shut us down, so I had to restart the stream. Must have been something. Third party. F 'em. Fair use.
Aw.
We criticize and comment on the news stories of the day
Aw.
concerning marijuana in the mainstream media, cannabis cures, politics of pot, every Sunday here at 420 Pacific on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, D-Live, Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. And I think that's it.
think that's it for now.
So welcome, everybody. We were just talking about Tennessee. Dave Stauffer on Facebook said Trump could miraculously overturn his current rep to prioritize the reclassifying of MMJ from Schedule 1.
Sure.
I'll tell you who's going to be reclassifying some things in the not-too-distant future is the DEA. You see, their other three initial cohort in the government, the FDA, has approved a CBD medicine. And they have 90 days to reclassify CBD, or Epidiolex cannot go on the market.
Ruh-roh.
So the DEA
spent money on that.
Has until the end of September to reschedule cannabidiol. Now, this is going to impact a lot of things because, California out here, what we just did, in their health department out here, and their wisdom, and our own Food and Drug Administration out here, Food and Drug Bureau, whatever they call it, has decided that CBD from industrial hemp is banned. Now, there is some crappy CBD out there, but there's some good stuff too, from what's classified as hemp under the industrial hemp laws. So industrial hemp is up in committee right now, in conference. Whereas the Senate had passed a bill, it's in conference right now, as reported by Marijuana Moment. And so we've got hemp going to come through on the Farm Bill. We've got
California Department of Health banning it.
The DEA is going to reschedule CBD to Schedule 2, probably. Interesting if they just took it off, but they'll probably put it on 2, so that GW Pharmaceuticals can sell the bugger for $5,000 a month. With a wonderful product that contains propylene glycol as well as sugar.
But I think more people agree that propylene glycol is not good for people who are sick.
Well, you don't want to
any people.
You don't want to vape it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it gives you popcorn lung.
You don't want to vape PG. That's why we get our vapable oil from Collective still, that we know doesn't have PG in it. And there are companies that have their brand that does not have PG in it. Then if you ask, if you're buying a vaporizer, disposable or whatever, ask if it has PG, VG, or any of the glycols in there, because that will do nasty things to your lungs.
Yeah, no good. But it's not illegal.
But it's not.
What's going on with that?
It's not illegal.
Yeah, that's crazy. But cannabis is.
Yeah, cannabis is.
All right. Next.
So this, I believe, we're moving into another zone. Let's see where we're moving into. Let's roll it. Let's roll whatever this. And just a side note. Some of the best cannabis footage is B-roll in these mainstream media shows. These mainstream media news reports says some of the best bud porn I've ever seen. They get some great B-roll. So let's watch another story. I believe we might be moving into Florida. Let's see where we're going.
For county commissioner, trustee, and civil court clerk, the state primary includes the race for governor. This week on 10 News Today, we're introducing you to the leading candidates for governor. WBIR 10 News reporter Katie Inman explains how candidate Beth Harwell feels about some of the hot issues for this race.
Beth Harwell has been the Speaker of the House of Representatives in Tennessee for 8 years. She's running on the Republican ticket and believes that her experience and track record are what set her apart from the other candidates.
I think I have instead of just promises, I actually have a performance that voters can look at, and I believe that I have a conservative, responsible voting record for the people of the state of Tennessee to review.
Harwell is the only Republican in the Tennessee governor race that has come out in favor of medical marijuana.
I have heard enough from constituents and citizens of our great state that there is legitimate forms and reasons why we would use marijuana for medical reasons. I am not for recreational use, but I do believe it is cruel to withhold that God-given plant from people that could benefit from it.
Now, the gas tax increase is something she is a supporter of, saying it's a good fit for Tennessee for multiple reasons, including more broadband access across the state.
We need good roads. Roads plus a good education plus broadband equal good jobs for Tennessee, and that's what we all can agree on. So we've put more money in our infrastructure budget for broadband. There are certain areas of our state that simply don't have access, and we know it's necessary not only for businesses, but also for children to do their homework. So we put grant money.
So we're gonna. Enough of her platitudes.
She doesn't care about cannabis.
Yeah, that's
she cares about the cash.
She's on the Cannabis 2018 train, that's for sure.
Which is fine.
Fine.
Let's just get it started and not illegal, so that brown people are locked up over it all the time.
Yeah, indeed. 100 pounds of marijuana seized in Georgia. Surprise, surprise. We're not even going to play the 20-second news story. 102 pounds confiscated in Butts, Georgia, on its way to kill no one, except to raise the prices wherever it was going. But meanwhile, let's move on to Florida, where a Florida man, a Florida woman, David Stauffer on Facebook, actually is the additive diacetyl that causes popcorn lung. Oh, thank you. The buttery flavoring that is sometimes also found in e-juices that want a creamy taste and finish on dessert flavors. Interesting. Okay, well, thank you for that clarification, Dave. I appreciate that. The specific additive diacetyl. VG is just veggie glycerin, Veg.
I don't know about vaping it still, though.
What about PG? What about propylene glycol?
I don't think it's good to vape anything like that.
Yeah, it's veggie. I don't know.
CO2.
I'll stick to flour. Or just straight oil, just straight cannabis oil with some terpenes, because you don't need to put it. The thing is, it's all purely for profit. It's a thinner. It's going to lower the price point, availability probably for the vaporizers in the nicotine world. That's where it's used, heavily for those vaporizing, and that's where you get those big freaking clouds, right? Unless I'm wrong about that too. But I'll stick to straight cannabis oil with some terpenes in it.
We're old school.
In a good, vapor pen
or a doob.
Sprinkled on a doob.
Or maybe
we're gonna get a volcano, right? We're gonna look into a volcano, and we'll do an unboxing or something. But let's move into Florida woman. A Florida woman is not happy. Not happy. She's got a Campbell's, but she's not happy about the marijuana coming into St. Pete. Let's take a look of what's going on in Florida. A warehouse.
For some living near a warehouse just east of 19, the thought of turning it into a medical marijuana grow facility is unsettling.
In my opinion, I don't like the idea all the way around.
The people don't want to have that in their neighborhood. They used to put it out like on the local street or something, not back in a neighborhood.
Transforming the 20,000 square foot facility is the brainchild of Brendan Markopoulos, who already has permission from the city to grow hops in this greenhouse just outside the blue building under construction.
Giving these breweries the ability to come in and handpick their own harvest and put those directly into their kettle within 3 days, it's giving the consumer something that Florida consumers just have never had.
He recently teamed with Oscar Mouton to turn that warehouse into a medical marijuana grow facility. To do that, this part of the neighborhood would have to be zoned as agriculture. Mouton says their passion is to help others.
That's our drive, trying to help people with a very natural and very, very, very effective way.
They're working with a horticulturalist and a group in Colorado to guide them through the licensing process. Neighbors took several of their concerns to city leaders, including smell, lighting, and security in an area that's no stranger to crime.
This area is mid to mid-high level crime, but we've already reached out to the St. Petersburg Police Department.
Mouton says armed security guards will be on site, and he says they've dealt with the other concerns. Not everyone is against it.
For me, I'm fine with that, no problem with me, yeah.
City leaders were set to vote on the grow house project today, but it got scrapped. It's since been rescheduled for next month. Sarah Rosario, 10 News.
Right now.
What's that?
You can show up to that meeting in green.
And
say, okay.
I need to get me some of those green the vote shirts.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll support those guys too in the Oklahoma movement. Dave Stauffer, sorry. We have a Schaefer. Dave Stauffer, good show, he says. Very subtle to use, discreet for vape pens, no incriminating combustible smells. I think he's referring to VG on that. So that sort of masks.
I see.
Helps to mask maybe the. Sounds like you're in the space, Dave.
I think everybody who watches us is in the space.
A lot of folks, and I know Ben Strom is in the.
We have a couple people on Facebook who aren't in the space, but I don't know that they're here.
Timbuktu, quick question. Cannabis oil is more of a consistency of axle grease. This is true. The FICO certainly is.
Yeah,
Can you thin it down with hemp oil? Well, it's they continue to winterize it, CO2 winterize. It's a number of levels that the cannabis oil can go through in the extraction process, all of which is with CO2 and not with
additives and chemicals.
I mean, I think when it comes down to the final winterization, I believe it uses like a grain alcohol, a natural grain alcohol at some level, but no butane or anything like that. And then the process gets to a point where the terpenes all get separated, and so now a lot of the companies, the real sort of I call them the top level companies, are using terpenes in their formulas, their recipes, to help thin out those oils
and to flavor.
So you don't need those if you're using the appropriate oil and using the appropriate process to get it out. So it's just purely for profit. It seems to me.
It seems
the complete cannabis novice. I mean, we smoke, we recreate and medicate. Because remember, when you recreate, you medicate.
We know some folks and we listen.
I was watching Bingus today. And it was everybody says, I'm medicated. I said, I'm recreated. Recreated from the great state of California, where we do this show every week, Dave, at 4:20 Pacific on Sundays. Yes.
Yes, to answer this question, you can thin out the FICO. I don't use RSO because of the naphtha.
Right.
But you can thin out FICO by heating some, like that's how we get our tinctures, is they heat the olive oil.
Right.
And they put the FICO tube in warm water to loosen it up, and then they squirt it into the stirring warm olive oil.
Right.
And then it just stirs and stirs and stirs with a special little stir thing in beakers and all this science.
Yeah. It's very, very,
but yes, it all happens.
A layman's description of how it occurs.
Yeah.
Vegan Metro, yes, I am recreated right now. Yes, we are.
In my kitchen, I could probably do it by thinning.
There's a crockpot method.
By thinning the FICO in warm water and then stirring some warm, and then maybe just use like a...
Could do that. You do that every night with the nightcaps.
Thing. So yeah.
Thanks,
Bingus. So yeah.
Hey, Bingus in the house.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, hit that thumbs up, share.
Yeah.
Great show today, buddy. That was fun. It was fun hanging out with everybody in the chat.
Magnetic stirrer. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Zoxavox.
That's the one. Thanks, Zox. The magnetic stirrer.
Yeah, I think everybody watching pretty much knows way more than we do.
More than we do.
But
they
like watching, which is fun.
Our job is to mainstream and normalize cannabis use.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do every week. And talk about news and politics, because that's sort of like my sports.
Yeah.
So I've, we've 25 years together is all about negotiation and compromise. So I wrangled Chella into the show.
So here I do it with him.
So
and I sit here for 3
hours. So I no longer do an engagement show about politics, normal politics. We try to stay away from that.
Mainstream politics.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we talk about cannabis.
Cannabis politics.
And it's
something
great.
that interests us both.
There's so much to talk about. It's just, it's ridiculous.
So play another match.
So let's talk about
Show us another game, Dave.
Let's talk about another. I still can't figure out why the guys showed up in hazmat suits. Maybe you can figure out this story.
They said, wait, they say something about...
carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide.
That's what it was. All
they find a substance, but I thought carbon monoxide was invisible.
Yeah. Well, it's
all right, go.
Whatever. Yeah, I know CO2 is involved in growing, but that's not what they said. Anyway, a Florida man. Let's take
Carbon monoxide?
Meanwhile, in Florida, while the medical marijuana patients have skyrocketed, drive-throughs are happening. The lawsuits about whether you can smoke, no smoke are going on. Legalization is right around the corner for recreational. Meanwhile, the busts continue.
Right now at 5.
This is a pretty quiet neighborhood.
A quiet neighborhood turned into a massive crime scene.
With all these guys here, something real bad's going on there.
And a hazmat scare for first responders. Tonight, what prompted danger on duty?
Ooh.
And there are new details tonight in this story. The Broward Sheriff's Office is now confirming that 2 houses were raided as part of this search warrant.
But it was only in Fort Lauderdale that deputies found themselves in the middle of a hazmat situation. CBS 4's Carrie Codd is live tonight on the scene with details. Carrie.
Well, fortunately, everyone is okay. And the Broward Sheriff's Office tells us that this home here in the quiet community of Coral Ridge Isles is one of 2 homes busted today.
Baked.
2 major marijuana grow house operations, investigators say. This home just south of Cypress Creek Boulevard and just east of I-95. The other home busted is just about a mile and a half from here. And the Broward Sheriff's Office says altogether they seized hundreds of marijuana plants with a hefty street value. A major crime scene unfolded in the morning hours in Fort Lauderdale Thursday as the Broward Sheriff's Office and Fort Lauderdale Police SWAT team raided a home suspected of being a marijuana grow house. This happened in the normally quiet Coral Ridge Isles community.
You know, it was terrifying for us. Kids were shaking up, the wife was shaking up.
Neighbors had no idea what was happening, and they were caught off guard when they saw a bomb squad robot being deployed.
It might have been ISIS.
And hazmat teams washing down officers in the street.
Ran outside, fire department told me just stay in, there's a hazmat situation going on. And as soon as we heard that, we didn't know what's going on.
The Broward Sheriff's Office says when investigators went into the home, they found hundreds of marijuana plants and buds, but they also encountered an unknown substance.
Initially, they weren't sure what that substance was, so for their safety, they backed out. Hazmat responded and decontaminated them as a precaution.
BSO says it was carbon monoxide and that everyone is okay. People who live near here could not believe what they were seeing and hearing about criminal activity in their neighborhood.
This is a pretty quiet neighborhood. Maybe that's why they came here.
BSO says they busted another grow house a short distance away in Oakland Park. At the end of the day, detectives pulled out box after box of evidence from this Fort Lauderdale home and say they disrupted an operation where the plants were grown here and the drugs distributed elsewhere.
We're talking about 400 plants that were collected from both homes. They have a street value of $500,000. It was a dangerous operation, and fortunately for our detectives and all involved, it was a fairly safe operation.
So BSO says 2 men were arrested, one here in Fort Lauderdale, one in Oakland Park. We're told that each man will face similar charges of trafficking, cultivation, and renting a home for the purpose of producing cannabis. Live in Fort Lauderdale, Carrie Codd, CBS 4 News.
Yeah, those renting a home for cannabis use, those are new laws that are popping up all over the place.
We've
got that in California now, too.
The danger of carbon monoxide
requires
was that it was odorless, tasteless, and invisible.
For a second there, I thought they had an excellent system going there. They had the red, green, and gold cannabis emergency system going there, where I guess it looked like, were they hotboxing people?
They were. Nobody was baked.
Nobody was baked
at the scene.
Nobody was baked at the scene. And
we were accused of being baked this weekend, you guys.
Is this guy being, look, it's red, green. Oh, it's red, yellow, and green. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not red, green, and gold.
Contaminated. You're high. You're not high enough.
Red, green, and gold.
You're super high.
They're doing it in the wrong order.
Those would be great suits to hotbox in, actually. That would be interesting. We should put. I bet you there's a YouTube video on hotboxing in a hazmat suit. So you needed.
I didn't understand.
You needed that hazmat response for carbon monoxide. That's what happens when your oven's on.
He didn't say carbon dioxide.
No,
he said carbon monoxide.
Yeah,
which is odorless, tasteless, and invisible.
Well, they have detectors. That's what's in your fire.
Right.
Things.
Right.
But
anyway,
I find it interesting. They had to order the MRAPs for the robots and the MRAPs. And again, no wonder your kid was terrified, dude.
Of course you'd be terrified with all that.
There's a mine-resistant armored vehicle, armor-protected vehicle rolling down your street. It looked like a scene from our movie.
That's terrifying. But it was really just all over some weed.
All over 100 plants of weed, $500,000 of weed, was going to kill absolutely no one. Rasta colors, right? I had that for a second. I'm like, it's a red, green, and gold emergency situation.
Right order.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there you
all
go.
Right,
Florida.
So that was a little reefer madness.
Meanwhile, under all of this illegal activity, they're just setting people up for the tax and regulation scheme.
Yeah.
That's all. They're just, because as soon as it becomes legal, it's going to be even more illegal, because you got to pay the piper, the potter. But it's coming. It's coming to Florida. It's coming to New York. That's our next block east. But in Florida, recreational is coming, baby.
Profile attorney who spearheaded the medical marijuana law here in Florida is now sparking debate about legalizing pot for recreational use. 4 in Your Corner's Adam Pinsker telling us why it could happen sooner than you think.
This tweet from attorney John Morgan is fueling speculation Florida will legalize recreational marijuana within the next few years. The multimillionaire lawyer wants to get it on the ballot by the 2020 election.
Well, I see a lot of potential problems, but I think the state's going to legalize it anyway.
Count former district attorney for Southwest Florida, Joseph D'Alessandro, as an opponent of complete legalization. He's worried that, unlike alcohol, people will underestimate the effects getting high behind the wheel will have on them.
One person can smoke a joint, maybe it's like a beer. The other one smokes a joint, and man, it's like going over a cliff.
You'll answer to us.
I wish.
Drive baked, get busted.
Ooh.
Florida already launched a Don't Drive While Baked campaign, which critics say is targeted toward the medical marijuana community.
The focus should be on alcohol. The focus should be on drugs. You know, marijuana, it's debatable if it's a drug or not. It is a plant. Again, it's killed no one ever in history.
Nick Garrelay of My Florida Green says there is a massive demand for recreational marijuana he believes will propel the issue onto the 2020 ballot. But he's also worried about everyone being able to get their fair share.
A stage 4 cancer patient that deserves access to medical marijuana as an alternative deserves access before the person is just looking to get stoned.
With just more than 2 years left until the 2020 election, the measure would need several thousand signatures to make the ballot. Then 60% of voters must vote yes for pot to be completely decriminalized.
60%?
Florida County.
No
Pinsker, Fox
no
4.
problem.
The Medical Marijuana Commission unanimously approves a rule tonight that would allow it to hire a consultant to score the state's dispensary applications. Now, under the law, the commission can award 32 licenses across 8 zones. KARK4's Jesse Tenor joins us now with what's next. Jesse?
Yeah, Ashley, lawmakers will actually consider the rule change next week. Representative Doug House, who authored the medical marijuana legislation, believes his colleagues will approve it. But some commissioners are still on the fence if they want someone else to do the scoring.
Provided to you is a copy.
The 5 members of the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Commission hashed out the pros and cons of hiring a consultant to score the state's 203 dispensary applications.
It feels to me like we should be the ones to make that decision. I'm not a big rubber stamp person. And so, you know,
I'm not a rubber stamp person either, but we're looking at a time frame of 4 months.
Well,
for 2 of y'all rotate off.
Time is of the essence. 2 commissioners' terms expire in November, which marks 2 years since voters passed the medical marijuana amendment. A man in the crowd yelled,
"What did you call it?"
But the commissioners unanimously approved a rule that would allow them to send the applications to a third party. They agreed there should be 5 scorers from different backgrounds, just like them.
Because if it was just one of us scoring these things and all these, you know, fantastical lawsuits that we have been, you know, then there might be some validity to that, right? But the fact is, none of us here determined who got a license. It was a group thing.
If lawmakers approve the rule change, the commission says best case scenario, it could award dispensary licenses right before Thanksgiving.
We would get done, if we started now grading the 203 applications, we'd get done at the same time. And then we would have done it. You know, so I don't know that we're saving any time here.
The commission wasted no time formally awarding the cultivation licenses earlier this week, as soon as an injunction blocking the process was lifted. The top 5 scorers announced back in February are in the medical marijuana business, while those out have sent about a dozen protest letters to ABC.
You cannot be less biased than this commission has been. We can't even talk to each other during the review.
And some of those out of the business could eventually be in. The commission also voted to keep the current dispensary and cultivation applications active for 2 years in case licenses are surrendered, revoked, or the state even decides to open more than 32 dispensaries and 5 cultivation facilities. Back to you.
Okay, 32 dispensaries and 5 cultivation facilities coming to Arkansas.
Wild.
4 months.
Arkansas.
South, man, it is on the rise. Southern cannabis is on the rise. Hemp, Kentucky, come on.
Republicans.
And they
going to pot.
They got similar problems to the Midwest. Jobs, opioids, and what was the other issue? Oh yeah, liberté.
And then like Timbuktu.
What's this whole idea? Oh well, you know, we don't want we want to make sure that we don't want people getting high. They're not a priority.
Yeah, no.
People should just free the plant.
Liberté, man.
Free the plant, free the people.
Liberté.
Liberté.
Tomatoes. Big Pharma can't wait to get their grubby hands on this and patent new strains. That's right, Timbuktu.
Whack to chill his camera in my ebullience. My excitement over liberté.
Okay. Apparently that's why
How can anyone watch this news report not high? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what this is for.
It's welcome to our show.
Yes. Hello and welcome. Is that Trump's your uncle? Who is that?
No, but interesting. Trump's your uncle.
Hi, Trump's your uncle.
Trump's your uncle is having a. You still there? Trump's your uncle. He says.
Bill Clinton called. He said Hillary is driving back to his home state and weed. Good. Isn't that nice? Everybody loves weed. We can all come together on it.
Welcome, Trump.
It's true.
This is telling
you.
Listen, it's the Democrats that are putting the kibosh on the Kush.
Yes, but really they should regulate pot like they regulate tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like that.
We can agree with that. We can agree on that. That's basically, and that's why, on the left and the right, we all cross over with cannabis.
That's true.
Cannabis 2018. And, I mean, look at the Democrats.
Green is
Democrats
purple.
have all jumped on board, the preemptive candidates of 2020 are co-sponsoring or introducing or whatever they're doing. So they know.
Green
they know how to
brings us all
exploit
together. It's true.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the East because Zox is in the house and he's looking forward to we're done with our Southern block. News out of Oklahoma, of course. We'll keep on that. Tennessee, governor, and Florida and Arkansas. So lots of news there.
Here comes
Let's
Oscar.
get into what's going on.
He's
Oscar
coming out.
of
Something's going on.
Yeah, we're trying a crate, folks. On the,
Oscar is taking over the crate.
Yeah, he's taking it over.
We wanted it for the little pisser.
Yeah, but, exactly. Dave Salford. Folks against its use as a wellness medicine. God forbid anyone gets the giggles. True story.
Yeah. Laughing, there are many studies that say that laughing is the best medicine.
Let's not even go there. That's so true. It's ridiculous.
So there you go.
So yeah, we should patent that. Patent
laughing?
Marijuana for that reason. I think Tommy Chong already did that.
Probably.
Should.
All right, next story.
East. We're going into the East. I'm trying to find my Eastern Bloc here. Here it is.
There's the Eastern Bloc.
This is the Eastern Bloc. There's some crazy news out of Massachusetts. But we just got a couple of stories, so let's start them before we get into New York.
And Maine.
Oh, Maine. I don't know. Didn't have any video stories.
That's right. Find something and we'll talk about it.
But of course, while we were gone, I believe the legislature, was it the Maine legislature, decided to overturn LePage's veto.
Isn't that nice?
So that was huge, actually. Did you do a video on it, Daily Dope? Did I miss your video on Maine? I bet I did.
Have a look.
Because we were sort of on vacation-ish.
We were definitely on vacation-ish.
So I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I did not catch anything in the roll-up this week on Maine.
But it's nice when the people's representatives represent the people's will.
Well, of course that's why I didn't find anything, is they're not going to report it.
Oh, right.
Or at least they're not going to promote it over a platform that might be on YouTube, because that's basically where I get alerts and everything, but I primarily
Massachusetts
see where they're going. I'm talking about Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Massachusetts? We're talking about Maine. But I've got lots of stuff coming out of Massachusetts. Let's take a look at this story.
All right.
After 6 months of planning, public hearings, and discussion, the Chicopee City Council passed an ordinance regulating marijuana establishments in the city. The new ordinance allows for 4 marijuana retail licenses and creates zoning requirements for different types of marijuana establishments. Retail pot shops are restricted to business, industrial, and mill conversion districts. Growing and research operations can only take place in industrial areas. One Chicopee resident said he hopes these new businesses help revitalize the city.
One of my neighbors tells about times back in the 70s when people would be coming out of the mills and go to all the stores, and, you know, it was just alive.
The Chicopee City Council approved the adult use marijuana ordinance Tuesday night. Marijuana businesses cannot be located near schools, churches, child care facilities, or libraries.
Can you imagine?
So Chicopee bringing the dispensaries, but
Go Chicopee.
Even though apparently it is legal in the state of Massachusetts, is it not legal in the state of Massachusetts right now for people to use cannabis? I believe it is.
Medical.
I believe it is, but be careful. Remember what we say. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's actually legal.
Yeah, doesn't mean you can just use it.
Doesn't mean you can go and use that stuff.
Can you imagine? I'm 55 years old, and I do this once in a while, and look what happens.
Bernadette Coughlin never imagined she'd be fired for using recreational marijuana in a state where it's perfectly legal.
Honestly, I was like, it's legal now. This isn't really a big deal, especially if you're not doing it at work.
Terminated as a supervisor for Sodexo, a national contractor providing food services for Holy Family Hospital in Methuen.
You were not impaired at work?
Never.
It had nothing to do with your fall?
Not at all. Not at all.
Coughlin admits vaping marijuana 3 days before tripping and falling in the hospital kitchen, breaking her wrist and elbow. A drug test 5 days after the fall came back positive.
And
3 days later.
I'm sorry, did she say 3 days?
3 days later.
Or
what
3
strain?
minutes?
What strain is she on?
Did she say 3 minutes or 3 days?
That was days.
Okay, just checking.
And I said, so am I fired? And she says, well, you broke company policy.
Sodexo's employee manual states the company goes by a federal standard where marijuana is illegal with no accepted medical use. Coughlin is filing suit claiming her privacy rights were violated.
In the privacy of her home, she has a right to do what she wants. What she did was legal under Massachusetts law, and this employer overreached.
I don't know what I really don't know what I'm going to do now. It just, the whole thing just seems unbelievable.
Sodexo is on record stating the company is now reviewing its policy.
Oh, bet you are.
For her part, while she takes her case to arbitration, Coughlin is urging the legislature to close what she sees as a marijuana legal loophole. In Boston, she'd be fine.
I'll bet they're looking at their policy.
Every politician who is not on board with the will of the people really has got to be replaced. And every cannabis user in states with politicians that are not following the will of the people must be vocal about it to our friends. It's super important because everybody agrees it should be legal and that politicians shouldn't meddle with the will of the people. So no matter what other political ideas they might have, on this one we can all agree.
I mean, they couldn't, I mean, and that was like in Oklahoma, just to go back to that, that freaking door was wide. Talk about a for sale sign. That door was wide open. The pharmacist said, here you go. She said, no problem. You can read the texts and, in the news this week about what they did. It was like the door was open, man. And it was like, we're going to make these crazy rules behind closed door because these guys paid us. A pharmacy in every dispensary? Can you freaking imagine that? I mean, a pharmacist, right? Just ridiculous. Welcome, another new viewer, Mr. Sparklot. Mr. Sparksalot, greetings. Welcome to the show. We're just talking about Massachusetts, Boston. A couple of crazy stories coming out of Boston. 55 got fired because they're federally funded, right? And not in their, no, it's because it wasn't in their policy. And they're now reviewing their policy. She's going to get her jobs back. This is going to SCOTUS. all of this stuff. There's something going to SCOTUS over cannabis. Might be Alexis's case. That's the closest.
That'd be awesome.
That's the closest. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be, which SCOTUS is going to be, what's going to happen with it. But
it shall be interesting.
We shall see. Something's going to SCOTUS on cannabis, I'm sure. Predicting now. So let's move out of Mass and move into New York. Because it looks like Zox, we've been talking about it for a year now. One of the first things we started talking about is the possibility of New York going recreational, and it's looking more and more like it's going to happen.
Isn't it amazing?
Reduce the legal and illegal use of opioids. And that's why one local doctor tells 7 Eyewitness News reporter Sean Robson tonight that the move to legalize marijuana here might save some lives.
Marijuana is one step closer to becoming as legal as cigarettes and alcohol in the Empire State. A new report from the State Health Department highlights a number of benefits for legalizing the drug, saying those benefits far outweigh potential drawbacks. Among them, millions in new sales tax revenue that the state could put towards education, healthcare, and law enforcement. The report points to Colorado, where marijuana has been legal since 2012. Marijuana sales generated $200 million in sales tax revenue and licensing fees in Colorado in 2016.
The issues about decriminalization and the persecution of minorities, and the third issue, opioids. 3 pretty good reasons to legalize recreational marijuana.
Dr. Laszlo Mechler is the director of the Cannabis Clinic at Dent Neurologic in Amherst. He works with patients who have been prescribed medical marijuana to cope with chronic migraines, one of more than a dozen health conditions that qualify patients in New York for medical marijuana right now. The state report says legalizing pot for everyone could help reduce legal and illegal use of opioids by easing access to marijuana for pain management. Mechler believes it would save hundreds of lives in Western New York alone.
Now, we have 115 people dying on a daily basis from prescription opioids, and the ones who can't get opioids turn to heroin. Medical marijuana and recreational marijuana may help that.
New York State is now allowing anyone prescribed an opioid to request medical marijuana instead. The health department has submitted its report to Governor Cuomo for review. In Amherst, Sean Robson, 7 Eyewitness News.
Legal pot could soon come to New York if the governor acts on the state health department's new report.
It's recommending that the state allow anyone aged 21 or older to buy recreational marijuana. The maximum amount per purchase would be 1 ounce. The state would also expunge the records of people who've been convicted of marijuana-related offenses. Mike Bunt has more on the move to legalize pot.
According to the New York State Commissioner of Health, the time is right to legalize marijuana.
The pros outweigh the cons, and that the report recommends that a regulated, legal marijuana program be available to adults in the state of New York.
Among the biggest pros, according to state officials, more tax revenue. They say legal marijuana sales could generate anywhere from $248 to $677 million in annual state and local tax revenue. And because the marijuana market would be regulated, there would be fewer negative consequences in terms of public health and incarceration. Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter isn't so sure.
I think if you legalize a substance that creates a different mindset in people, you know, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or marijuana,
smoke weed.
There's going to be repercussions on the other end. You know, statistically speaking, we're going to have more people using that substance.
But the head of the Department of Health
problems for us when people are not using all their faculties to make decisions.
And some people who are in the front lines of the opioid crisis wonder if legal pot would just make matters worse.
We still believe there's more harm than good involved in what it can do for the opioid crisis. Not saying it can't be some help.
You know what has more harm than good?
As far as
sugar in your diet, apparently.
We're still trying to realize the situation.
That last McDonald's run
of that epidemic. You know, we're still trying to get it under control, and then throwing another substance in there just seems to be throwing some fuel on the fire.
But the study says a regulated marijuana program should promote marijuana as a pain treatment alternative to opioids. Right now, 9 other states in Washington, D.C. allow recreational marijuana. New York State could soon join them.
While skeptical of some of the report's findings, Sheriff Baxter says it's up to the state to decide whether or not marijuana should be legal and that his department will enforce whatever laws are in place. Adam?
Thanks, Mike. If you're interested to see more of the reports and all this, we have a link to that on our website, rochesterfirst.com.
Rochester folks.
It's no secret opioid addiction has become an epidemic. The cure, still a mystery. More than 2,200 people in New Jersey died of a drug overdose in 2016. Now, New Jersey's health commissioner, Sharif El-Nahal, says he is exploring the idea of making medical marijuana a potential treatment for people addicted to opioids through street drugs or prescription drugs.
Right now, the consideration is adding it as an addition to what's called medication-assisted treatment. That is the evidence-based treatment that people get for addiction. When they're addicted, that helps them actually get off and get into recovery. We believe that marijuana could have potential there.
Right now, patients dealing with opioid use disorder can only access medical marijuana if their addiction was rooted in treatment for chronic pain. The commissioner says medical marijuana also gives doctors another option when first prescribing for pain.
It reduces the reliance that physicians have on opioids to treat pain. Marijuana is a very effective treatment for pain.
But psychologist and addiction expert Dr. Harris Straightner says there is insufficient evidence that the use of marijuana will stop someone from using heroin or other opioids.
There's just not enough scientific research out there to show that it's effective. Indeed, it may be dangerous and may even trigger opioid use if that's your drug of choice.
El-Nahal knows this is an ambitious plan.
What we want to do is set up studies that actually investigate if it can be independently used as yet another tool in getting people out of addiction.
Ellie Lima doesn't like the idea of throwing more drugs at the problem.
Honestly, it's like a firefighter fighting fire with fire. I'm not necessarily sure if that'll work in the direction that he's thinking it will go.
Right now, it's not the law, only a proposal. In Morristown, New Jersey, Meg Baker, CBS 2 News.
They should go back to Arkansas.
Who's that?
Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
And stay there. And get high. And hike the Appalachian Trail.
I missed part of that trolling.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. We all agree. Just like weed. We all agree.
And Mitch McConnell is all for hemp underwear. Yeah. Trust me. He's for lots of hemp. Hemp's making a resurgence, people. We would not have a country. All those founding fathers wouldn't have been able to do shit without hemp. So, they understand that. So does the big tobacco. But moving on to New Jersey, where they just expanded the number of medical marijuana dispensaries in New Jersey. Doubled them, I think he did. Or whoever did it. However it was done, it was done. But of course, they're talking about further legalization in New Jersey. Who's going to get it first? What do you think now? What do we think now? We've been talking, who's going to get it first, Jersey or New York? We've been talking about that this whole time, too, that we've been. This is our 51st episode. 51st official episode. So we've done this 52, so we've done this for a year. Wow.
That's cool.
We've been doing this show for a year. We do this. Hey, Trump's your uncle. We do this every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific here on YouTube.
And also, we have another new person.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, remember.
Oh, Mr. Sparks a lot.
Yes, Mr. Sparks a lot.
Yeah, that's right. We do that every Sunday at 4:20. Oh, I'm getting a spasm on the back. I better take a bowl.
Most Sundays, live.
Most Sundays live,
We
yes.
chat about all the cannabis news across the country.
We do.
And how cannabis unifies everybody. Everybody is for cannabis.
Everybody's for cannabis. And cannabis is mainstream.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm sure more people than you think use cannabis. And we basically call for cannabis users to come out of the closet.
I think Trump is going to bring us cannabis off the Schedule 1 in an executive order. That's what I say. That's my prediction. Just to piss off all of us, everybody.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
I think it's entirely possible.
Yeah. So
it would make Sessions so mad.
And you'll hear about it here at DC 420 LA on Sundays at 4:20 Pacific. Subscribe, get notifications, ring the bell, thumbs up over, upvote over on Steam It, over on D-Live if you're watching. A few folks over there watching on D-Live. Twitch, haven't heard from many of our Twitch tokers, but I think we're still going out over Twitch. A lot of them have moved over here, actually. But I don't know why, because it goes out pretty good on Twitch. But welcome, everybody, and join us next week. We're going to continue. We're continuing on our Eastern Bloc, moving into New Jersey. But next week, we will be doing our live stream at some point, well, at 420, somewhere from Maui. So that'll be next week. And
so at least it'll be pretty. I don't know what else will happen, but it'll be good looking.
We're going to find a good spot. So let's see what's happening in Jersey.
Assemblyman Jamel Holley has taken the initiative on legalized marijuana. He has taken the bill introduced by Senator Nick Scutari, the prime mover on recreational marijuana, and tried to make it more widely acceptable.
I took the approach, since this is going to happen in the state of New Jersey, why not thrust myself into the conversation and to provide opportunities for minorities and women and individuals who look like me, to give them an opportunity to be a part of this discussion for the legalization of marijuana.
Holley was part of a legislative delegation that visited Colorado to see how legalization works there. He's been supportive of the concept ever since. The chief obstacle in Trenton to marijuana legalization has been the Legislative Black Caucus, led by Senator Ron Rice. Holley's amendments appear to be designed to win over members of the Black Caucus, but they are not winning over Senator Rice.
New Jersey is not Colorado. The demographics here are very, very different.
Rice today gave us a litany
Chris
of
Christie
reasons
got replaced.
why marijuana
He's out.
legalization
This guy is
makes
out.
no sense. He said the neighborhood outside his office is ripe for exploitation by those peddling pot, which he sees as a major gateway drug.
I'm 5 blocks away from Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, which is a predominant, rich, upper middle class, white community, college community. What we know is that when you legalize marijuana recreationally, the number of people who never use any types of drugs goes up substantially in terms of drug use.
The Scutari bill limits the number of marijuana dispensaries statewide, including medical, to 218. Holley would amend that to allow state regulators, a so-called Division of Marijuana Enforcement, to set the number each year.
I envision that we may have more. I mean, we have 566 municipalities here in the state of New Jersey, and I'm sure that municipalities over 216 may want to have that opportunity to provide this type of service into their communities.
Another Holley amendment would make it easier for those convicted of marijuana possession to have their criminal records expunged.
Expungements have to happen. I will not support it unless there's language in there to support expungement. There's individuals who look like me and those individuals who do not look like me that are incarcerated for little small portions of marijuana.
Governor Murphy said the same thing this week.
You can't incarcerate somebody who did something on Friday and allow someone who did the same thing on Monday to do it legally.
Holley's other amendments would make it easier for small businesses to get a piece of the action and spell out exactly how the tax revenue would be divvied up by the state.
If, in fact, we legalize recreational marijuana, right across the street from my office, they're going to put up stores. They want to call them dispensaries. They're going to be stores that do retail selling of cupcakes with marijuana, candies with marijuana, sex toys with marijuana.
Yeah!
Yes. Kids can get.
Those are hard to find.
So the marijuana
really hard to find, actually.
Some see legalization as a progressive
Dr.
reform with many benefits. Others see it as a road to ruin. Take your pick. In Newark, I'm Michael Aaron, NJTV News.
So it's going to ruin the society, or
that guy is going to get replaced.
Oh, he's out. He's out.
Totally getting replaced in the next election.
I don't know if he's an incumbent or
Every
what.
Politician that is anti-cannabis is out.
My God, they're going to sell cupcakes
and sex toys in the same store. Seems a little weird. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
In Vegas, I bet you they'd have those stores. You should look for that.
You might have something there. They have stripper coffee drive-thrus in Nevada, in Washington too.
I'm totally slumping in the chair, and my low battery light is coming on.
Oh, you better plug in and let's get a snack.
Come
while
on.
we move on to the next New Jersey story.
Oy vey. Oh my God.
Come on, and Trump's your uncle. Yes, you're welcome here. Come back.
Yeah, we all agree on cannabis normalization. That's what we talk about.
Listen, we'll kick out. We'll kick out the guy that wants Chella to smoke through her nose before.
Yes.
Before we'll kick somebody like you out of it.
People who are being assholes will be kicked out.
You're making fun of hemp.
Yeah, but we won't engage.
We'll just correct it with
facts.
With facts. Yeah, that's all. Welcome. Hey, lots of engagement on Facebook, folks. I just want to say welcome to, of course, Dave Stauffer is jumping in over there, but we've also got, let me just looking back here, we got Melanie Jennings, welcome. Wayne Manning, talking over there. So welcome everybody. And Dave's, it's Tech Toys, I know. Pot bust and subsequent incarceration are all part of the systematic racism, putting many, many good folks in jail. That's exactly right. And any law that doesn't include expungement and past criminal records. You know, if Obama really wanted to do something on his way out, Trump's your uncle if you're still here. He could have descheduled cannabis. It's maybe he claimed Congress is going to do that.
Stop using him as our token. That's not cool.
No. You see, our progressive, progressive.
No, Trump. Trump's your uncle.
Sorry,
our token conservative. Sorry, guy.
My recovering whiteness threw me right into. Did I just call Obama a token? No, I didn't.
No.
Do that. Okay. No, we thought he was progressive. He could have descheduled cannabis. He could have affected the issues that these guys are talking about it in New Jersey, debating, two men of color, politicians and activists of color debating what the drug war has done. And the benefits of legalizing cannabis, or negatives, the destruction of society. And Obama could have descheduled and or pardoned, released anybody for low-level marijuana offenses. That would have been an interesting move, wouldn't it? But he didn't do that. So, we're moving a lot. There's a lot more action on cannabis right now in these last year and a half than happened in the entire 8 years under President Obama. Sorry.
It's true.
Sorry.
I think we all agree.
Sorry.
Not sorry.
Not sorry.
It's true fact thing.
So, but we digress. Let's, we don't digress, actually. It's very, it's
relevant.
Relevant. So where are we? We're in New Jersey.
Jersey, yes.
I think we have one more New Jersey. That actually might have been the New Jersey story.
Yeah, that was Jersey.
Was it? Let's just see. I'll press the forward.
That
button.
was.
Let's see what we get.
Where's Phil Britton?
At the end of the Eastern list. Where is Phil Britton? He's on the road wherever Phil is. Phil Britton, Pirate Radio. He's supposed to broadcast when he gets his mobile rig up and going.
I'm sure he's thinking of us.
I'm sure he is. Phil, we miss Phil. We appreciate we appreciate all our viewers. We have a very small core, but very consistent group of viewers.
I'm
and
happy,
it's growing every week,
happy about you guys.
Exciting.
You're very sweet and welcoming and kind to me.
I mean, YouTube doesn't let us monetize, although it's interesting. They let us monetize our road video, which was fascinating because there was marijuana all over.
It was the super weediest video we've ever had.
And all of a sudden it's monetized. I'm like, that's really bizarre. I don't get it because YouTube immediately won't let us advertise.
Oh, maybe it's the videos they don't like.
Facebook doesn't let us advertise because of this content.
Hi, Jocelyn Russell.
It has nothing to do with the videos. I get copyright strikes if that happens, and that's not what we get. We get copyright where they say, hey, that's ours. We're going to monetize it. So it's the corporate guys get to monetize their stuff because they see our video, our fair use news commentary. And they say, oh, that's our ABC does this all the time. They say, oh, that's ours. And they monetize it. Even though it's about cannabis. And YouTube says, you can't monetize that. It's because it's about cannabis. It's crazy.
Whoa.
But that's phone ringing. I don't know what that is. Sorry. At least it was on vibrate. Let's move on, shall we? We're done with the East.
All right.
The battle between New Jersey and New York to catch up to Massachusetts with recreational. Maine. We'll find a story about Maine next week.
Oh.
I don't have a story about Maine.
You don't have a story about it?
I don't. If somebody has a story about Maine, a video story, drop it in the YouTube chat or tell us where to get it, and I'll bring it up. But I didn't find anything this week about Maine. We will definitely find something next week. So let's move into the Midwest. And our first story from ABC9. Speak of the devil. Let's see if they monetize this video. Now that we're going to play this news story.
11 and 9 on your side, exclusive. Inside a medical marijuana facility run by a company coming to Ohio.
These are so fun.
Good evening, I'm Julie O'Neill. Tanya and Craig have the night off. The company will open a dispensary on Ridge Road in Columbia Township later this year. Evan Millward takes us to Illinois to see the science behind the products that will be sold here.
It's going to be, you know, ointments, lotions, capsules.
Many of the products for sale in this Chicago area dispensary will soon be available in Greater Cincinnati.
There is a personal aspect to it, so we want to be there to coach you through it and help you find out what works for you.
But before they all get here, they're born inside these inconspicuous buildings in tiny Dwight, Illinois, almost an hour and a half southwest of Chicago.
This is where it all starts.
Medical marijuana isn't just grown in some run-of-the-mill greenhouse. In fact, at this operation, you are able to track your product from its mother plant to what you buy at the dispensary.
Everything that we have here in this facility is tracked seed to sale. Each individual cutting that is taken will be given a barcode or a biotrack number at the point of cutting.
Illinois requires it.
One of the common misconceptions is that you just kind of set this plant and forget this plant.
There is more science happening here than you might expect.
Everybody that I have here working in my facility has a background in either large agriculture or entomology or anything like that, right? So it's come a long way from your basement growing.
Scott Rosebaum runs cultivation.
Except
from
for the
cloning
sunglasses.
in this room to monitoring airflow, light color, everything in a series of greenhouses.
We have to collect a lot of data and what goes into what we supply the plants as far as any amount of fertilizer that's given to that plant every day.
It is an 8-month grow cycle here from seed to harvest. Mark Andrus is in charge of processing.
Once we get down to a portion where most of the sugar leaf that's left on there is still usable, we will then do one of two things. We'll utilize this for either a fresh frozen extraction, or we'll put it through our lab extraction side.
My name is Joe Quarles, and I am the lead extractor here.
Down the hall.
And this will also be odorless, flavorless, so you can use that in your edibles, and it won't offset things in your vapes. So if you have a vape, it won't taste funny. It won't taste bad.
A lab features thick liquids and clear crystals, but the journey doesn't end here. Some cannabis is being frozen or dried under not at all ironic green light.
If it's a pain issue or a hunger issue or whatever they need, there's something out there that we can give them for that.
In Dwight, Illinois, I'm Evan Millward, 9 on your side.
For the very first time, a prescription drug made with marijuana will be available in Kansas. KSNT News reporter Hannah Brandt explains what made it possible and who will benefit.
The FDA approved the drug nationwide. It's called Epidiolex. It's a strawberry-tasting syrup, and it looks just like any normal prescription drug. But for one Topeka family, it could be a big deal.
I'm being yelled at
JJ Krentz has Dravet
She's doing a marijuana
rare
video
form of
in
epilepsy
Kansas.
that brings on frequent seizures. And that means he's using a lot of different drugs.
A whole laundry list. I think I counted it up, and we've trialed 23 different epilepsy medications.
But nothing seems to work.
We start to see some seizure control, but never 100%.
This new drug does not have enough THC to get the users high, but the CBD oil has the potential to help people like JJ, and it was approved by state lawmakers last year.
Look like anything
we did that
they're
sort of proactive scheduling in this case to make sure that as soon as it's available, patients will be able to take advantage of that and get that important medication that can change their life.
But Tiffany says it's only a step.
So as a community, we're super thrilled that the FDA has finally recognized that there are medicinal true benefits to cannabis. We're concerned that everyone might say that's good enough and not continue research and studying whole plant options.
And the Krentz family is realistic about the drug and the impact it could have for JJ.
Do I think it's going to be the miracle drug for our son? Probably not at this point the way it is. However, there is a lot of enthusiasm about the fact that now the FDA can say that they support a whole plant medicine. But more work needs to be done. I do feel a lot of families are going to benefit.
The drug is not available just yet. It's being moved from the trial phase to the production phase. So there is no exact timeline on when it'll be ready for purchase in Kansas. I'm Hannah Brandt for KSNT News.
Doing a guerrilla report.
Doing a guerrilla report from CBS. Doing a story about marijuana.
We snuck the iPhone in, and I'm doing it from my iPhone.
We have pictures of marijuana growing.
So weird.
I'm talking about
Yeah, exactly, Brian. Some people need some THC to stop seizures, and it doesn't get them high.
Alexis Bortel does.
You know, it just doesn't. I find when you need a medicine, it doesn't necessarily do those other things.
Your body needs what it needs.
Smaller amounts necessarily.
And whole plant is the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, as far as we're concerned. It is an adaptogen. You know, that was an old buzzword in the 90s. But an adaptogen where it, you know, kind of goes where it needs to go in the cannabinoid system. From my layman knowledge of watching guys like that are joining in, like Bingus and other folks and growers and other people more well informed about this topic, daily dope, than we are. But whole plant, you know, THC is a big part of it's the only thing that's being studied in the pharmaceutical world for treatment for Alzheimer's is low dosages of THC. So we have a beneficial plant in all respects, and all in the new and all of the cannabinoids that people are finding out about and talking about. CBN is a big one. THCA, the A's, all the A's.
My
CBDA.
favorite tincture is a 5-2.
CBN, well,
and it's CBD to THC.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not like, oh, I must have tons and tons of THC. Hey, you guys know I like to get baked, you know, or smoke some joints and get high with you guys. I love it. It's awesome. So big. She's big. But
Vegan Metro, whole food, plant-based. That means the whole plant. Same. Vegan.
Yes.
I have none of it is
my
toxic
5-2 is my normal thing that I like to do most of the time.
What's that?
5-2.
Yes.
CBD to THC. A lower
The new
ratio.
Chell is chill.
Yeah, I like it.
It's the 5-2.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But I'm liking this Tahoe OG smoking in the pipe. As well as in our joints today.
Yeah, it's a nice Tahoe OG. Thank you,
ITSG. Remember, does anybody remember? I'm sure everybody remembers when you used to just get your weed from your guy. You just didn't care what it was. You just got it. Does it have buds? Does it just shake? That was the difference. Sativa, indica, buds, shake. It wasn't even sativa and indica.
Yeah.
It was just, is it buds or is it shake?
Yeah, there was a time.
There was a time. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now we're all connoisseur. Now we're all cannabis connoisseur.
Yeah, there's like, you know, yeah.
We're looking for the percentage, people. But now you're looking for a profile, too. You're looking for a full profile of terpenes and other cannabinoids, the entourage effect, as Vegan Metro reminds us. Let's continue in the Midwest.
Thank you, Veg Scrub Bloom, for the growers' love.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And
I hope to drive up through Oregon and see all the people.
Oh yeah, well the road trip was fun. We're definitely going back to San Francisco and maybe do a show from one of those spots.
It'd be nice to keep driving north through California and Sacramento and Oregon and Washington and land in BC. I think that would be so much fun.
Well, we were talking about Pacific Northwest next year.
I know. Maybe we could do that.
Convince the family.
Yeah, yes. I know Vegan Metro because it's illegal there.
What's it? Where?
He still gets, he knows people in New York City who just get random weed from their guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, their guy comes with
the most weed from anywhere, actually.
Yeah. But I'm sure they still do it bike messenger style with the boxes sealed like that.
They made a TV
it was
show
always
about
amazing like that.
They made a show on HBO.
I mean, and it's been like that since forever. Yep. So that's awesome.
97.
At least before that.
Well, that's when we experienced it.
The people that turned us on to them were there before then.
That's when we got our weed delivered by a bike messenger in our bud and breakfast and our before there was Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
What was it? It was something else. It was Craigslist.
I know it was just a Google search. It a Google search? It was a web search
or something. Yeah.
It was a internet search of New York City bed and breakfast.
Now I can go to a dab bar in San Francisco.
It's amazing.
And have my weed delivered in Kern County.
Here even. Jocelyn Russell, yes, if they actually do studies on pot, I am sure they will find many, many new drugs for all kinds of things. It's true.
This is going on in Israel.
I think so. Yes, it's true. Israel is totally on the cutting edge.
They're outsourcing.
Which, you know.
Tim Buck, I got a tincture THC 35, CBD 165. That's that's a good ratio. I'm not interested with that's interesting. What is that ratio?
Huh.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close to your 5 to 2 baby.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Cool.
That looks like a good one.
Nice.
It's just it's just enough to sort of, not that any of it really gets us baked.
No, but yeah, we're baked today.
We're baked. Oh, wait.
Let's see another story.
When children hurt, it is natural for people to just want to help them heal, but sometimes we cannot. And for a parent, that is a virtually impossible thing to swallow. Our Andrea Isom is live on 8 Mile Road in Detroit right now, where one business is hoping to help fight childhood cancer one event at a time. Andrea?
Medical marijuana, Carolyn. It's a hot topic, no matter where you stand on the side of the issue. And I know people are out there thinking a lot of things, but please,
you get
don't
an
think
ounce.
for a minute.
You get an ounce.
My daughter was diagnosed with a stage 4 Wilms tumor. She had metastasis to her lungs and her liver. As a parent, it was a horrific time watching my daughter go through that.
Chris Vanderberg's daughter is a miracle. She survived and is thriving in life. But sadly, so many other little ones with childhood cancer lose the battle. So Chris is now committed to being their warrior.
We started really looking into the world of cancer. We decided we want to make a difference. And so I got involved with Kids Without Cancer because our sole focus is research.
What some may call an unlikely team, duo, have now joined forces in this fight. Reef is a medical marijuana dispensary in Detroit, and the two have one mission in mind.
That there's never another child who gets diagnosed with cancer.
Pediatric cancer being one of the #1 causes for child death. We've all had children in our families, with our friends, that's been affected. So we really want to show the support, and we want to make progress in the cancer research and the cancer treatments that's being developed. So it just made sense to partner with Kids Without Cancer.
On Saturday, July 28th, Kids Without Cancer and Reef will host an event called Cars for Cancer. It's a car show. Fitting, right? After all, this is the Motor City, and the motive is about making a difference in the lives of children and all those who love them so very much.
It's really just bringing awareness to everyone that there's this huge need for this cancer research, and we want to show that we want to be a staple of the community and that we want to proceed with providing as much funds as we can.
Teamwork, community, that is what it is all about. Childhood cancer research is so underfunded. We have to change that. We can change that. To learn more about the event coming up, go to our website, WXYE.com. Reporting live tonight in Detroit, I'm Andrea Isom, 7 Action News.
Andrea, thank you. We'll do that.
I think Andrea actually enjoyed doing that story.
I think she uses cannabis.
Is the vote in? As everyone does, she uses cannabis.
Don't you guys think?
Yeah, we do that. It's a little game we play here on the show. Do with anchors and reporters. Do they smoke cannabis?
Do they use cannabis?
Do they use cannabis, or do they not use cannabis?
Yeah, she did love saying that. She wanted to shock everybody.
Medical marijuana.
She just wanted to shock everyone. Maybe she shocked her audience.
East side of Detroit. Detroit's east side. It's going to do a lot. It could do a hell of a lot of good in Detroit. Recreational. It's on the Michigan, of course. It's on the ballot in November in Michigan, and it's going to go through the same shenanigans. It already is. If you follow Daily Dope Show, which some of you do.
Shenanigans is the like what happens all the time. It's crazy town.
It's just you know what's going to happen. You might as well look for it. It's happening all over. We got it in California in the Western
going rogue. Shenanigans.
So let's continue in the Midwest. See what's next. Oh, we wanted to choose one of these dudes. Which one was it?
Oh, no.
Do you remember?
No. Okay, so
there's one guy, Daily Dope. You still in the
Yeah, are you there, Brian?
In the chat. Who is the?
There are. It looks like 4 guys, running for Michigan governor.
Governor?
Yeah, governor.
These guys are running for governor.
And 2 guys are super anti-weed, and 2 guys are actually. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican, and they're both pro-cannabis.
Okay, I think
do you know anything about them?
I'm going to roll. I have 3 videos. I think it was the 3rd one. I'm going to play the 3rd.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. So this is Jim Hines. We think he supports medical cannabis.
Hi, yeah.
Cannabis.
Here he is.
Hey, Daily Dope. Is Jim Hines the guy? Let's see.
Michiganders voting on recreational marijuana this fall. What's your opinion? Do you think that that should pass, or are you against it? If you're for it, why? If not, why not?
So let me start off by saying that I support medical marijuana. I have dozens of patients that have gone off all of their regular chronic medications taking medical marijuana. So I support that. I think that there needs to be regulations and further research to know exactly why the CBD component of marijuana seems to work in so many different illnesses and problems, not just chronic back pain and so forth. Recreational marijuana is a different story. I don't support recreational marijuana. When it goes to the ballot, and if the voters of the state were to approve it, then I would support
Republican.
it. However, I think that it would need to be regulated. We still need the research to know what's the incidence of lung cancer when you're on a heart medication and you're on recreational marijuana. Does that medication
saved your heart?
Adjusted?
Actually, just reported
the proper dose. There are so many questions that have to be answered with recreational marijuana. In addition, just practically, you know, how do you?
Wait, he just said he supports medical marijuana. And then he proceeded to completely spew garbage.
Political nonsense, I think. And Daily Dope is saying the Republicans are whack on this issue.
Because all of these videos we watched on this, were all of these on this debate, Republicans?
No, the Democrat was pro-cannabis.
Okay, so maybe it's...
with a beard.
The guy with the beard?
He had a beard.
Guy with a beard?
Yep. There's a guy with a beard and a suit.
No, I think we're conflating our regions.
Another Republican who's to the left of the Democratic establishment. Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Brand saying. Oh no, Vegan Metro.
So, but we couldn't really find anybody. So we really couldn't find anybody.
No, the Democrats is pro-cannabis.
Well, I don't know why.
That's all right.
Did we watch his video?
Yeah, we did. That's how come I know.
I know. You know what happened? I know.
That's how come I know. You deleted the wrong one?
I'll see if I can find it. Let's move on.
That's fine. We'll move on to another thing and we'll come back.
If I find him, we'll come back to it.
All right.
If not, I'll drop it in the playlist.
Oh.
And
he's the good guy, though. There he is. The Democrats have a corporatist, progressive, and a real progressive. Maybe it's the real progressive that we saw. He has a beard. Does the progressive have any chance at all, Daily Dope?
Yeah, that's really the question. Huh?
That's the question.
I'll bet you.
Is there a secret?
Yes. Group. Yeah.
Aren't we talking about Michigan?
Yes, we're talking about Michigan.
The real progressive should have a real shot because Bernie won by a landslide.
Good point.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, he won Michigan.
Was that just a fluke? Are they going to come out for the real progressive?
He would have won Michigan.
When's the thing?
General, too.
When's the vote?
November.
They
vote in November on recreation.
There's not a
and obviously
primary
on this. Oh,
because there's a bunch of people running. It looks like there's 3.
I get confused with all the different states because New York has primaries every freaking month.
Yeah, there's primaries all the time.
The primary dates. Damn, I don't know why it's up to the states to do all this voting.
Yeah.
And why don't they do ranked choice voting? But we blew dream.
They're all good on it. The real progressive. Abdul have a chance.
Right.
That's the best platform.
I don't know why was he that? Did they not post a video of his answer? Was he in that debate or was that Republican? That might have been Republican.
Pro-cannabis.
All right, let's get into the West.
All right, let's move on. Here we go.
We're moving into the West.
Thank you very much, Daily Dope.
Yes, thank you for the info, Daily Dope. If you want to keep up, which obviously...
with all the best Michigan stuff.
I have not caught up on all your videos this week. You've been putting out some good videos regularly again, and I have not caught up with them all
we got a lot of stuff going on.
So, good one on Oklahoma, good one on Michigan. So, recommend folks going over to the Daily Dope Show. You can do that, right?
Correct.
Click on the 3 little buttons, as Bingus says, and go visit his channel after the show. Or open another tab. Don't leave us yet. Because we've got another 3 hours.
But we do want to mention that Flint still does not have clean water.
Flint still does not have clean
water. Veg Scrog Bloom is reminding us. And as Daily Dope reminds us, and as we all remember and know, but we don't talk enough about, and so we're going to remember and talk about it.
Flint doesn't have clean water. Napa doesn't have clean wine, Chella.
And I'm sure it doesn't have clean air.
What are they going to do?
That matters.
Napa the wine has radioactive wine.
Wine's getting contaminated somehow. So does that mean other things that grow in the region
that was my question.
are equally contaminated? I don't want to say it by name.
Do we have Fukushima?
I don't want to say it by name.
Cesium.
Don't. Let's move on.
Somebody should be testing the cannabis
to the West Coast. Stop!
Okay. This is an important story. Important thought. Okay, good. Moving on to the West. Did we do that? We didn't do the West. I'm high.
No, let's go. You're baked. You're baked today. For real. Yeah, it's true. It's okay to be baked. I'm in my house doing the show where I'm supposed to be baked.
Oh, we're going to start way out west.
That's right.
Way out west.
No.
Hawaii.
Yes, Hawaii. And we'll have more to say about Hawaii next week because we'll know more because we'll be boots on the ground.
I guess maybe we should have ended with this story, but we'll start with it because we're going to be in Hawaii. We're going to be broadcasting from Maui next week, and I figured out how to restream from my phone.
You said that earlier.
I'm excited. I get to restream to all the platforms, whether it be YouTube. Please subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up. Get notifications. Whatever the fuck you gotta do. I don't know. They still don't send you notifications, right? All the things. Upvote on Steam, on DLive.
All the places that you
follow, like on Facebook. Do it all.
All the things.
As long as they keep us going. As long as they let it broadcast. But next week we're going to be mobile from Maui at 4:20. But we'll do something like fun. We did this week, which was a lot of fun. But let's see what's going on. What's going on with medical marijuana in Hawaii?
Changes are being made to Hawaii's medical marijuana rules. The amendments were signed into law last week by Governor Ige. And under the new rules, dispensaries can sell vape-like devices to smoke, and a patient's certification can now last up to 3 years.
As we know, some conditions are chronic, and we are now looking at how we can accept that determination for greater than 1 year.
A benevolent one.
One of the things we want to be careful of is that this determination comes from the patient and the provider. We want to reinforce the relationship between their patient and their provider, and that the Department of Health not interfere or come between that relationship.
Currently, a patient has to get certified every year. However, this provision won't go into effect until as early as next year. Since opening last year, dispensaries have sold $6.7 million worth of medical marijuana products. That amounts to 849 pounds of cannabis. The dispensaries have interacted with patients 142,000 times. More than 21,000 people have a medical marijuana card here in the islands.
Tonight, an unprecedented announcement from the Kern County District Attorney.
Today, the Kern County District Attorney's Office filed a 2-count complaint against Kern County Supervisor Leticia Perez.
Criminal charges announced against Kern County Supervisor Leticia Perez. 2 misdemeanors, one for a public official influencing government for financial interest, and the other for a public official failing to disclose investments and interests. The announcement comes after investigation into the board for conflict of interest with the marijuana industry in the county. Perez has been the subject of scrutiny because of her husband's role consulting for marijuana businesses through his consulting firm Savage Consulting. Supervisor Mike Maggard was also under investigation, but he will not face charges.
The outcome of that investigation revealed no evidence of wrongdoing by Supervisor Maggard.
In a statement, Maggard said that he was grateful for the conclusion and added that the justice system now needs to follow up its process to conclusion in order to remove corruption, self-serving influence, and suspicion from our local government. The indictment against Perez signals the first time that conflict of interest charges have been brought against an elected official since Lisa Green has been with the office, spanning 35 years.
I've tried many criminal cases. I've never, ever seen a case like this.
Perez will be represented in this case by A.J. Sala, who spoke Tuesday in her place.
These charges are baseless, and Supervisor Perez is entirely innocent.
Sala argues that the prosecution of Perez is discriminatory, saying that former Bakersfield Councilmember Bob Smith attempted to use his position to influence a government decision in which he had financial interest, but he wasn't charged.
A Caucasian male who is politically popular was not prosecuted criminally for the same charge that Supervisor Perez is being accused of violating. What's that tell you?
Perez is also the only Latina on the board. She began recusing herself from marijuana-related votes back in May. Prior to that, starting in 2013, she voted 70 times on marijuana-related issues, voting in support of the industry the majority of the time. Sala says that this shows that Perez was not influenced by her husband's role in the industry.
She has been a supporter of cannabis regulation much, much before Mr. Haar ever entered the consulting business.
Regardless of what happens, he says that Perez will not be stepping down. Green also added that these charges would not force her to do so. And when Sala and Green were asked if this is politically motivated,
that's possible. We'll let the trier of fact look at that, and we intend to present evidence of that as this proceeds on.
The evidence is what led us to these charges. It has nothing to do with political persecution.
New at 6, new details tonight surrounding the armed robbery.
Before we get to the robbery, so it looks like there's maybe a political motive. There's more of a little political motivation to this, these charges, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But, not, we saw that in El Dento. Is it El Dento, California? The mayor was taking bribes. So we've got it. It's just,
it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's government corruption.
It's money. It's money.
Like
capitalism. It's what it is. It's money.
They go together. They go together like shama-lam-lam-lam-ding-a-ding-a-dong.
It's true. You're very singy today.
Oh, I am. I mean, it's
great.
DC 420 LA the musical. But the lighting is looking much better now that it's getting darker in the background.
Oh, good.
The lighting's getting better as the 5-hour show progresses.
No, please go
into
on.
Our third hour.
It's time to go. It's time.
Well, we're almost out of regions, so
yes,
we're in our last region, so
cool.
we're good. So corruption in Kern County, a dry county.
Corruption in Kern. And it's going to continue to be dry because the one who was corrupt was the pro-cannabis one.
That's right.
It's crappy.
That's right.
The people that put the thumbs down were all anti-cannabis people, but the people who put the thumbs up was a pro-cannabis person, and she was the corrupt one, and that's so junk.
Speaking of which, hit that thumbs up on YouTube if you're doing that. I know we're starting to get a 1 thumbs down.
Oh, Brian Arbor, is that you asking who put a thumbs down?
Oh, on us? Yeah, I don't know, dude. We get like
ignore it.
We get one a show now. No, it means we get a troll.
You can't find that. I mean, you can't find that out. They gotta tell you that.
It's bad on. Don't do that on D-Live. It's bad on D-Live. That's a vote.
Whatever, man. What are you gonna do?
We're here for you guys and us. So yeah, give us a thumbs up, give it a share, subscribe,
what are you gonna do?
Get notifications, let people know about it. We do this every week. We have fun. It's a blast. We get high and we talk about the new cannabis news. It's awesome.
We'll tell you all about the cool cannabis news.
And we learn things. We constantly learn things from people in the chat.
We sure, yeah, totally.
Because there is so much good content out there with cannabis growing, and a lot of the more intricate stuff. I mean, I'm inspired to try to start growing something again. I tried once. It worked out not so great. It was all right. I haven't had the best luck with cannabis plants. So, but I watch you guys and I watch the stuff and I get inspired. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next story.
Hi, Holy Cannabis Oil.
Holy Cannabis Oil. Oh, we missed. We'll see you next time we come up to San Francisco.
Yeah, that was great. We had a great time. It was amazing.
We'll meet you at the Dab Bar.
Yeah, at Urban Farm.
We'll buy you a dab at Urban Farm.
It was fun. Oh, Brian, you're so sweet, Dad.
It was awesome. We got to split the dabs, buy dabs for your friends.
It was really cool.
Fun. If you don't want to buy a gram of concentrate, and you want to go try some stuff, it's a great idea. And you get
it was fun.
You could get baked, but you sit there, you enjoy, just like a bar, and guess what? In 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you're good to drive. You're fine. I mean, it's a whole different set of rules. It needs to be a whole different set of rules.
Oh, God.
And that's part of the issue. Moving on. We're hungry. I know, Vegan Metro. I know, we're hungry.
No, Vegan Metro wants us to go until Family Guy starts at 9, but I'm ready to stand up and move around.
Yeah, a lot of our Sunday shows aren't on any right now, so we're not so worried about our scheduling. Okay, so let's see what our next.
The bust. Guys. You guys are very sweet.
The robbery.
The Sunday night special.
This is bad Sunday. Thanks, guys. This is something we were worried about. Actually, it seems to be raising its head more often now that because they put the names of people who have licenses online with their addresses.
Yeah,
brilliant.
That's crazy.
But this looks like it might have been something else. But either way,
but I guess you have to,
good news.
Put a huge safety security plan in place anyway. But it's terrible.
And you have and you have a thriving black market because of overtaxation and regulation. You got 2 labs that are now we have a bottleneck.
I guess if you're going to have guns, you're supposed to hire outside security because you're not allowed to have guns.
You're not allowed to have
cannabis.
Yeah, that's right. You can't have guns on a licensed cannabis
facility
establishment.
Oh my God. But it's all cash. That makes no sense.
Well, let's see.
New at 6, new details tonight surrounding the armed robbery of a South Monterey County pot farm. It was robbed early Saturday morning, but today the sheriff raising concerns about the heist. We get the story from Action News reporter Felix Cortez live outside that grow house tonight. Felix?
And Aaron, one major concern is that 5 firearms were stolen from a home inside this property. The sheriff says those guns likely to end up on our streets. Investigators say this pot farm on the 23,000 block of Potter Road was robbed early Saturday morning.
We think 3 to 5 suspects broke into the house and they taped and bound 2 subjects in the house with duct tape and 3 additional victims in the warehouse area.
More than $300,000 worth of processed cannabis was stolen, along with $10,000 in cash and 5 firearms from a house located on the property where some of the workers lived. And there's concern that this may be an inside job.
It's a possibility. We're looking into it, looking into all possibilities.
Despite the grow operation having surveillance cameras, the suspects may not have been captured on video, meaning they may have known their way around the operation. At least one cannabis attorney says the break-in, a wake-up call for the industry that deals strictly in cash.
We need to take better security measures, of the operations out there and make sure that security plans are followed. Everybody should be updating their security plan based on what we're learning from this incident.
The grow house, which is in the process of getting a cannabis permit, also raising concern about guns being found on the property. By law, grow houses can't have firearms. These, however, were found inside a home. It's a thin line, but the sheriff worried there may be copycats out there.
It needs to be regulated, and it needs to be tightly regulated, but the more permits that we hand out throughout Monterey County, it's, in my opinion, it's going to provide more targets for criminals like this.
An attorney representing the grower says the owner has done a complete reassessment of his security system in light of this break-in.
I bet he's done a whole reassessment of his employees.
Investigators are looking at all aspects of this heist, including the possibility that the thieves had help from the inside. Aaron, Dan.
Felix, thank you. So far, no arrests have been made. Monterey County Sheriff's detectives would like to hear from anyone who may have information regarding this case, and they want to stress you can remain anonymous.
Daily Dope says, I had cameras. They had masks. Yeah. It's like.
Yeah.
And who's not going to have, who's growing cannabis anywhere, legal or not, is not going to have guns.
You got to have guns. I mean, I'm not a gun, big giant gun advocate, but shit, you got to be naive to think that you're not going to have guns.
If you're a good guy, and there's bad guys with guns that are going to come for your weed, you probably are going to, I'm not a gun advocate either, but if I was growing
Again, I'm naive to think that my growers don't have guns. So of course, come on, you got to have guns. You got, in this case, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Big Metro, are there any cops who go to the news and speak out in support of legalizing cannabis? They're rare. They are very rare indeed. But
they don't really go on the news.
They have a
retired.
mission. They have a mission, and that's to shoot people and.
Yeah, exactly. It would make it a lot safer if they didn't force you to
create violence in
force
society.
you to put down your dress and put it online.
To protect and. Sir. Super high. Let's move on.
Concerns over a spike in marijuana smoking by San Diego teenagers, especially with kids getting in trouble with the law.
This is the
10 News
Reefer
reporter
Madness
Travis
story.
Rice reveals the new study showing
too.
young people are changing the way they think about pot.
Good.
Yeah, no big deal.
Marijuana is making a name for itself in San Diego as the preferred drug for teens, according to the San Diego Association of Governments. A new study tracking the drug choice for kids in the juvenile justice system shows its frequency and perception are changing.
I look at this data every year, so some of the data strikes me every time I look at it.
Dr. Cynthia Burke says the 10-year analysis is the only study of its kind that follows drug usage in the region.
The things that we've seen that have been
Sam.
most troubling to us, I'm a mother as well as a researcher, is some of the changes we've seen since Prop 64 was passed in legalization.
Marijuana usage for teens has increased in virtually every category. Per their figures, 91% of the kids in the local juvenile justice system have tried marijuana, with the average age of the first time they tried it being a little over 12 years old.
Which I think is maybe younger than some individuals might think, so we want to get that message out. It's never too early to talk to your children about drug use and the risks there.
California legalized recreational pot at the start of 2018, and according to Sandag's study, only 14% of the kids they polled felt marijuana is harmful to users.
I think that a lot of the youth
Smart
out there
kids.
think that it isn't harmful. When you see edibles in different forms, it doesn't seem harmful.
The trends show there's a reputation that it may be harmless, but researchers just want the next generation to know it can lead to other choices.
Just because someone tries marijuana, alcohol, or tobacco doesn't mean they're going to go on to try meth or cocaine or heroin. But when you look at the percentage of individuals, like as adults or even as juveniles, who've tried meth, heroin, cocaine, did they use alcohol, marijuana, or tobacco before that? Yes.
Travis
You
Rice,
don't just jump into bigger drugs. You don't know those people yet.
What's that?
You don't just jump into bigger drugs. You don't know those people yet.
That's right. Not yet.
I mean, when I was a kid and like in those parties, like it was alcohol and there was cannabis around. And, you know, I went to Beverly Hills High, so more than likely there was cocaine. I just didn't know about it because I didn't do cocaine.
Well,
everybody knew it.
This story is this study, of course, is done by our good friends over at SAM, S-A-M, the Safe Answers to Marijuana, who was on that East Coast representative doing that other story.
Yeah. National organization.
Oh yeah, they're the only ones really. They're all over the place. They did a whole bunch. They were doing Oklahoma, and that's the study that they're referring to is done by one of its kind. It's right. It's because you're the only ones that actually do this nonsense, and
Dingo.
Ridiculous. And of course, it comes out. Hey, Dingo! It comes out at the same time. You can count like clockwork. These bullshit stories come out when there's news about studies that show completely opposite to what the propagandists skew their studies to show. Legalizing marijuana does not lead to higher youth use. New studies show. This is July 13th.
Studies by scientists?
2018.
Not propagandists?
Over at Marijuana.
Thank you, Tom Angel. Daily Dope, I lived that freaking episode of 90210.
Which one?
Just, I went to Beverly Hills High. I walked into the ladies' room my freshman year, the first week of school, my freshman year, and 2 chicks were standing in the ladies' room just doing lines right there. Just right there. I couldn't believe it. I just walked right out. It was such a little square. But I knew that they were lines because my dad did coke, so I knew what coke was. So I knew it was something I wasn't interested in.
I can't say that I didn't do marijuana before I did cocaine, but I certainly did not use marijuana before I got into cocaine. When I got into cocaine.
Yeah, you went straight from, but
alcohol.
You did alcohol first.
Alcohol was around, but I didn't smoke weed.
I drank wine coolers.
Yeah.
What did you guys go right into cannabis, or did you do alcohol first?
And
caffeine,
and when I did acid, when I did mushrooms, I didn't smoke weed.
I didn't go eat my baby. They used caffeine gateway drug. I know the caffeine.
Oh, caffeine.
Sugar is a big one.
Violence. How about violence? Oh, there's a direct correlation.
I don't think about that one.
I'm sorry. No, what? Not violence. It was Bingus was talking about it earlier today. It's I think it was on that show, that stream. That incarceration is what gets you into other drugs. Doing something that's illegal. So because cannabis is illegal and you get incarcerated for it, that's actually a gateway to harder drugs.
Maybe because you don't have access to it?
Any number of reasons for being incarcerated could the joy of being incarcerated will bring you.
Yeah, alcohol.
So, but alcohol, number one of all of it. So, there you go. That's the Reefer Madness Award of the Week coming out of San Diego. Suffer the little children. Make sure they know.
Give them CBD.
Give them CBD.
Here, this is weed.
Stay tuned for the candy in the Halloween candy story to a news station near you.
I used milk too.
You use milk? Oh, milk is a gateway. Milk got almond milk got the kibosh this week.
Milk, that's another show.
On top of CBDs. All right, continuing.
That's Vegan Metro Show. Hey,
that's Vegan Metro
almond
show.
Milk.
Almond
Can't call
juice.
it that anymore.
Almond juice.
I wonder what happens if you call it that.
When they start calling it lactating bovine excretion instead of milk.
Alcohol for cigarettes, yeah. Weed.
Pregnant bovine juice.
Yeah. Weed's the good one. All right, go on next.
All right, continuing. And I love it.
Next
when
story.
I first came on board in October of 17, the city was facing $1.2 million a year structural deficit.
Jeff Jones says he had his work cut out for him when he took over as Arvin's finance director last year.
Fortunately for the Measure L, the 1% sales tax we adopted back in 2008, that's pretty much saved the city. There's no car dealership in town. We don't have a Walmart, so we need to look elsewhere. We need to look for industry.
Jones says the answer for revenue was simple.
Cannabis is an emerging industry. People are going to have access to it whether or not we have it in this town or not.
So last year, Arvin City Council voted to allow it, up to 1,300,000 square feet of indoor commercial cultivation. Then last month, City Council voted to allow potential manufacturers to do more. The cannabis ordinance was amended, adding retail of recreational marijuana through non-storefront businesses, allowing manufacturers to sell directly to customers statewide.
You can have it delivered outside of the city via a private vehicle. I call it an Uber delivery system. But we're not going to have a storefront delivery. You just can't walk in and buy cannabis.
Jones says delivery retail is expected to reach customers as close as Bakersfield and as far as Los Angeles and San Francisco. With 4 companies already starting the process of getting permits in order, Jones says plans to repurpose places once used for agriculture operations like the Salter Labs and Allied Potato Buildings are already in place.
They don't have to change the sign much. They could just cut off the last half of the word.
Where we are geographically as a quick way to get to the LA market.
Jones says it's also Arvin's low competitive tax structure, as low as 2.8%, that makes him optimistic that more marijuana businesses will follow.
Some of them talking about us becoming the Napa Valley of cannabis.
Jones says he expects the industry could create as many as 500 jobs and between $500,000 and $2 million per year in revenue.
And that's why we need cannabis as a way to help provide safety, security, and improve the quality of life for the citizens here.
Especially safety. Jones says the city is just getting by with bare minimum police staffing.
That's
20
the best
officers
part.
that the city hopes to grow to 30.
That's one of the big drivers for the city.
That's the best part.
Is getting more police officers.
According to Jones, if all goes as planned, operations could begin as soon as November.
This is the right thing for the city at the right time. It's something that, if all goes well, 10 years from now, the city will be in a lot better shape than it is today.
Guaranteed.
Probably unlike you.
Oh,
burn.
Maybe he'll start using cannabis.
Burn. And vegan. Maybe he'll go vegan.
Start regulating his gut flora.
But not only is...
I think you have to focus on that.
Not just hot for pot. It's hot as hell.
Is it hot as hell in Arvin, California?
In Arvin, California.
No wonder nobody wants to be there.
So,
ice cream is like rock cocaine.
Oh, it's pretty much my enemy.
Yeah.
That and the vegan donuts.
Sounds like we're in a lot of vegans.
We better get to the food.
We gotta go.
Next story.
Welcome back. You can start buying recreational marijuana in San Luis Obispo County tomorrow. KSBY News reporter Asia Gore spoke with city officials and marijuana dispensary owners.
Dementia Village opening.
That's right. Natural Healing told its Facebook fans it would start selling recreational marijuana today. While it did get the green light, it likely won't start expanding its offerings until tomorrow.
We got so many calls every day, 25 to 40 calls
What the
every
weed,
single
man.
day asking if we're recreational, when we plan to go recreational, and it's just amazing to be able to let them know that the times came now.
Natural Healing Center hasn't been open here in Grover Beach for long, but they now plan to expand marijuana sales for medical and recreational use.
We're getting a consistent flow of medical patients. We anticipate that to double once recreational takes place.
That's what 805 Beach Breaks expects to see once it officially receives its state license.
We're really waiting any day now to get our recreational permit from the state.
Natural Healing and 805 Beach Breaks are just 2 of 4 storefronts approved by City Council for recreational operation.
We've become the vanguard on commercial cannabis, and that went back about 2 years ago, in which this council said we are going to look at this as a growth industry and not this thing that people have characterized as a stigma.
Mayor Scholl says tightly regulated dispensaries will bring Grover Beach $700,000 in tax revenue this fiscal year,
Cannabis
and even more
cash.
green in the future, with
This year.
$1.5 million anticipated in 2021.
Those are the folks that we are expecting them to make an investment in our community.
It's an investment these dispensaries believe will repay in dividends.
As we go recreational, we know that we'll probably see double to triple our sales.
The mayor tells me the 2 other businesses approved for recreational marijuana sales here in Grover Beach are Monarch and Milkman, but they likely won't begin their sales until later this year. In Grover Beach, I'm Asia Gore, KSBY News.
Grover Beach Police will inspect the Natural Healing Center tonight before allowing them to sell recreationally tomorrow. The council also approved 7 marijuana manufacturers.
I didn't think I find it just hilarious that all those people are like, do I have to call my guy? Do I have to call my guy yet? Do I have to call my guy again? Not yet. How about now? No, not yet. Okay, yeah, tomorrow. We're good. All right, great. My guy's out of
We're
town.
going to go check it out first.
Meanwhile, honey.
You still want to know your guy.
Yeah, you still got to know your guy.
I mean,
because as soon as you get a taste of the taxes.
Just saying, you want to know your guy. There's a novelty in walking in and buying a pack of joints. I'm not going to lie.
It's
or
great. It's going to take
can
over.
of mints.
It's
going to be great.
They're going to drive them out. They're going to drive out the local stuff, the local market.
No, we're going to still have craft local stuff.
We hope.
Farmers markets. It's going to be like that, though. It's going to be farmers market and crafty for people who seek it out. And bed and breakfasts and stuff like that.
Speaking of crafty and a hipster West Coast thing to do.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. This is beautiful. Cute commercial.
It's a teaser. It's all part of mainstreaming marijuana.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey guys, Emily Ann Plezak here of Green Bee Life, and I have the honor and privilege of sitting with Eliza Maroney, the cannabis yogi. She has an amazing workshop, Bend and Blaze by Firepath Yoga, and I had the amazing opportunity of taking the workshop today.
They have a class.
Oh, it's Lucky Box.
Yeah, they're sponsored by a bunch of different ones.
Nobody counted them.
It's beautiful. I would totally do it. Next time we go to San Francisco, we're going to do it.
They're in Frisco.
Yeah.
That looked like, I swear to God, that looked like.
What made you start infusing cannabis into your yoga practices?
For me, yoga was pretty much always infused. My personal practice, I didn't really discover cannabis until I was in my early 20s, but when I did, I really connected with the medicine and found that it had so many different aspects of my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and when you get to doing yoga, it's really meant to be a marriage of all of those things, being totally present, and yoga for me is sometimes it's a challenge. So the cannabis really helps me go a little bit deeper.
The Cannabis Yogi. That's it, baby.
I know. That's it? That's the last one?
No. That was on that story.
Oh,
I love that. We just wanted
to
play that because it's cool, and
there's
been a couple of other.
I'd love to do that. It's fun.
There is a group here in Venice that does it.
Yeah, there is. We'd like to do that eventually one day.
Let us know. We'll come and do a story mission.
But cannabis yoga is awesome. But the thing is I've never done it officially in a group with other people.
You know what else is great on cannabis?
My own.
Lifting weights. Lifting weights is awesome.
Everything.
All kinds of exercises.
All things.
Riding bikes, riding bikes, or biting rights too. Biting rights too.
Let's go. Move on.
Moving on, because we need food.
Overcoming opioid dependence with the use of medical marijuana.
Done tonight. A look at the controversial alternative now legal in 30 states. Idaho not on that list.
6 on your sides. Karen Lear has more in tonight's installment of Finding Hope.
Well, Don Michelle, the desire to live prescription pill free is pushing some Idaho residents over the border to legally smoke and grow their own pot in Oregon. People like Jerry Cush.
Yeah,
Jerry
Cush.
There's
a Gorilla Glue and a
not his real name.
This one here is a red dragon. I've never grown it before, so I'm not sure how it's going to turn out.
Jerry Cush didn't always grow and harvest marijuana in his own backyard.
Not budding or blooming yet.
The current Oregon resident,
most of the strains I'm growing this year are kind of new.
Used to call Idaho home.
It'll get more so once they get ready to harvest.
Like many, Cush has a handful of conditions requiring medical care, stomach issues, fibromyalgia, and the need for antacids and antidepressants.
You'd take sometimes 2 or 3 prescriptions just to fight the side effects of the morphine. And then you have side effects from some of these medications, and some of them can ruin your life.
On that list of meds, a high daily dose of morphine or Oxycontin to treat chronic pain.
And they kept increasing it. I was taking 90 milligrams of morphine 3 times a day.
The morphine ended up morphing Cush into an antisocial version of himself he didn't want to be.
A lot of times lethargic, didn't want to do anything.
So in 2014, after 25 years of use, Cush decided he'd had enough.
I don't like taking pills. I was determined I was going to come off of it.
Over the course of 6 months, Cush was successfully able to slowly decrease the morphine and increase the marijuana.
Basically, marijuana's been the best for me all along.
But while living in Idaho, Cush says medicating with marijuana became stressful, constantly in fear of being arrested and sent to jail.
It got to where I was kind of paranoid to go anywhere, to do anything.
So he made the monumental decision to move to Oregon.
It was hard. Because I was farther away from my family. It didn't see them as often.
But Cush says the change in physical well-being was well worth it, saying the benefits of marijuana far outweigh the complications he came to expect with multiple prescription pills.
The only thing I take for pain is marijuana. This way I know what goes on my medicine.
With a doctor's note and a grow permit from the state, he's now just one more Oregon resident legally growing his own pain meds on his own property. And without the pot,
I know it would be very difficult to live with the things that I've got, without it.
Now, of course, there have been ongoing efforts to legalize some types of marijuana in Idaho in recent years, but so far efforts have been unsuccessful. Reporting live in studio, I'm Karen Lear, 6 on your side.
Now, no.
Smokes? Doesn't smoke in Idaho. I don't think she does.
It's Idaho, not in Idaho.
She's in Idaho talking about a guy in Oregon who used to live in Idaho.
No.
Because you don't want to get caught smoking in Idaho. So I'm saying no, she doesn't. But I could be wrong. Okay, next story.
Now, no, a CNN report led to the crackdown on Denver.
Oh, yeah. This is the most infuriating mainstream media frickin' talk about literally being thrown under the bus by CNN. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is Colorado, Denver. We covered this story over the last couple of weeks. They busted all of these folks on the tours. Well, it turns out, no, there's a reason.
No, a CNN report led to the crackdown on Denver cannabis tourism buses. And from that crackdown, a bigger battle is beginning. As Liz Gilardi found out, these buses started operating to fill the void of public places you can use weed.
We have the party started here. There's a little bit of a purple haze.
Reporting live from a smoke-filled bus, Denver's marijuana industry in the national spotlight.
The industry began, and honestly, we didn't pay a whole heck of a lot of attention to it, and until New Year's Eve of this year.
Fast forward to June.
My 420 tours, we issued 19 citations.
Denver police pulled over and cited 31 people on 2 cannabis tour buses, including the one featured in that CNN report.
We're headed to court with the case.
The founder of Colorado Cannabis Tours showed up to this meeting to defend his business. Despite the crackdown, his tours are still running.
For them to allow a business owner to enter this market, expand a company for years and years and years, get tons and tons of notoriety, and then crack down is really just, in my opinion, shameful.
Thank you much. Here's the thing. Colorado legalized marijuana, and Denver voters approved a measure to allow social consumption.
It's not working. There's only one business that's been open, and it's been 20 months.
Councilwoman Kendra Black is the chair of Denver's social consumption area task force.
Coffee joint. It's
We wanted
CBD
to
only.
honor the will of the
So that you
voters.
can bring your
She
own.
says that will likely mean changes, allowing more businesses to open. One example, hotels get a lot of complaints about people smoking in their rooms. So there could be different rules for pot clubs wanting to operate in those areas.
We legalize something, and there's no place to consume it.
As for tour buses, this task force received an update, but it will not be taking up the issue. Now a legal battle is looming. Liz Gilardi, Denver 7.
Dab bars. I got 2 words for you.
Oh my god.
Dab bars. That's what we need. 2 stories left, folks. 2 stories before we can eat. 2 stories before we rest.
And I can stand up.
On DC 420
Stretch my
LA,
legs.
the Week in Weed every Sunday at
I'm
420
gonna
Pacific.
have like deep vein thrombosis from this.
You know what's good for that?
Cannabis.
Yes, indeed.
I'd say that to my sister now all the time. I think she's super annoyed by it.
Oh no, a CNN.
I know we are. It's terrible.
I say, you know what's good for that?
There was just a story this week that I posted on my personal Facebook page about how prior cannabis use will protect you during a myocardial infarction.
It's true. Where's that news? Didn't that come out this week or was it last
it wasn't
week?
a video. It was. They don't tell you actual. They don't. They try not to. It's like the
Next
why
week
isn't
we'll
the
talk
main
about
story
it.
in the news?
All right.
Because it's good news.
Go next,
we
please.
like
I beg you.
Here we go. I beg of you. I beg of you. We move into Arizona, where the courts have decided no oil for you. We got states begging for oil, and Arizona, where it's legal, medical. Infuriating.
Yes. Medical is definitely legal.
Our youngest patient was 8
We need a map. We need just to print that map. I can't hear
Is that
anything.
on? I know. Did you hear that?
I hear nothing. Do you guys hear? I hear nothing.
That's weird.
Oh no, a CNN.
Oh, there you go.
Our youngest patient
But
was
that's
8
the
months
wrong
old.
story.
He was having
nuts.
about 40 seizures a day. We have our oldest patient is 97.
well.
She came in just a couple
No,
months
that sounds like dead air.
Our youngest patient.
Can you guys hear the
was 8
story? And
months
it's just
old.
us.
He was having
wait.
about 40 seizures a day. We have our oldest patient is 97. She came in just a couple months ago, and she's like, well, I quit all my narcotics, and she's down to 2 pieces of chocolate a day. She titrated off her morphine at 96.
Okay, let's try this again.
What?
I don't
Why?
know why. For some reason, our earpieces just died. But I'm going to leave our mic off, and we'll play the story. We'll go back to the old school.
This patient was 8 months old. He was having about 40 seizures a day. We have our oldest patient is 97. She came in just a couple months ago, and she's like, well, I quit all my narcotics, and she's down to 2 pieces of chocolate a day. She titrated off her morphine at 96 years old, and then switched down to 2 little pieces of chocolate a day. What's she supposed to do now? Take that away from her and have her titrate up on her morphine?
Dr. Heather Moroso worries about her patients. She owns a medical marijuana clinic in Tucson and sees patients who have anything from autism to cancer. And she says they benefit from these extracts.
It's really truly the medical side of the plant. To be able to extract it allows for different methods of delivery that are healthier, allows for edibles, it allows for oils for kids. You're not going to have a child who's paraplegic or having seizures smoking a joint. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The appeals court found in a 2-1 decision that the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act does not cover hashish. Moroso says criminal code defines marijuana as the plant and the extract as cannabis or hashish. And because it's the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act, not the Arizona Medical Cannabis Act, the court ruled that the extracts are not legal. meaning no edibles, oils, or wax. But dispensaries like Downtown Dispensary say they'll continue selling the extracts until the Arizona Department of Health Services says otherwise, or until the Arizona Supreme Court gives final word.
New this morning, a prank.
Disobedience, and that's exactly what they need.
Say that again?
That's an act of civil disobedience, and that's exactly what they need. Almost exactly.
That's exactly what you said. So Arizona courts messing with your hash.
Hashish.
It's not called the medical hash law.
They don't call it hashish, and smokable is not a thing. So, stop using dumb words. Go on. Go on. This is the last story. We'll come back and wrap it up.
Activist judges.
Go on.
Okay.
New this morning, a prankster growing marijuana plants in city-owned flower pots. This is in Wyoming. You can see the marijuana plants right there growing among the marigolds and the zinnias. Pretty big, too. Employees weeding and watering the flowers first noticed a plot plant. This was last month. They then called police. Officers have since found 2 other plants growing. They say this isn't the first time that this has happened, but the marijuana plants went undetected, so they grew larger this time around.
Oh, my goodness.
New this morning.
Again.
Oh my God.
Clap and say it again. I told you we had to go back to old school. I had to mute us during the video because our ear system was dying. Yes. An act of civil disobedience.
Rogue cannabis plants and city planters is awesome.
I think that's amazing.
I love that.
Whoever got fired for doing that, good job, man.
Totally good. I think everybody should do it. Everybody should walk by planters and stick their seeds in it.
And smoke weed every day. That's what we say.
If you get any male seeds, those should be the ones you plant.
How do you, unless you've had your seed sexed.
Well, some of the growers might be able to, might be throwing away all their male seeds.
But it is
that's
such
a good use for them.
It's a beautiful plant. And in all this news every week, on the B-roll they get, the bud roll, we call it the bud roll on the news stories. It's amazing. Some of those guys are having a lot of fun shooting the marijuana or finding good B-roll for marijuana. We have, we see a lot of that because we see a lot of news stories here on this show every week. This is, of course, so many. This is DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed, where we get together every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific.
With our friends.
With our good friends in YouTube,
chatting
Facebook,
away.
Twitch, Periscope, D-Live.
Weed TV.
Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. But we love engaging with the folks on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good fun.
We get most of our information and our chat. It tries to go along the bottom here. You don't catch everything because it's starting to come through pretty quick. But we do appreciate all the conversation in the chat. Chella's always in there. I try to jump in there when I see fun stuff. But I'm kind of pushing the buttons and doing things over here. And
he's our tech guy, too.
Dreaming away.
He does our tech.
We thank you for joining us this week. Next week, we will have a show, but it will be
we'll be traveling.
From the road. We're taking the road to Maui.
Going to Hawaii.
If anybody's on Maui or Oahu, we're going to be there. Let us know. Shoot us a DM over on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or on any of the other Insta socials. Socialgram, social networks. Twitter is where I do most of my stuff, at DC420LA. And, I think Twitter is the best place for it. No time for anything else. And the newsletter will be going out every Saturday now instead of every day. So we're going to start that up again. Probably do.
We're traveling Saturday. You should do launch it on Friday instead.
Launch it on Friday,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Great show. Mahalo. Aloha.
Keep it all up. Tell everybody you use weed.
Keep going, Oklahoma. They're almost there.
Oklahoma.
6,000 signatures. They're going to get it. They'll have it by Sunday, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did we have we didn't have there was no video story on the CBD being banned in California.
No. But that's a big deal.
Department of Health and the Food and Drug Board in California has banned CBD from industrial hemp. But all of this, with the passing of the FDA, of the Dial-X, DEA has to change the scheduling of CBD, and hemp is about to become legal in the Farm Bill. So they don't have a leg to stand on. So this is going to fall in the California courts, I'm sure. Although the Ninth Circuit just screwed us on something. But thanks everybody for watching. We do this every week, as we say, some version of it. A year, babe. This has been a year of doing the show.
51. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for dragging me into this. It's fun.
Thank you for doing it. I
no,
tried to
really,
get it started,
I mean it.
It just didn't happen, and we've gelled, and it's a lot of fun. I think we gel, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
We have fun doing it. We've got a really cool following now, getting bigger every week. We have new viewers every week on the different platforms.
No, there's no off season right now. It's August. It's the end of the summer. This is the time when it's the most expensivest
to travel.
By the way, to quote the show. By the way, that's a good show.
Yeah.
The most expensivest.
That's why we did our wedding. That's why we did our wedding in October.
Yes.
It's the cheapest to travel.
It is. That's the cheap time to go, is in October. Anyway. But we digress. The cheap way to go to Hawaii, you guys, is to get the evil credit card from Alaska Airlines. And then you get a $99 fare plus taxes for your companion.
True story.
And then that's the cheap way to get to Hawaii, or really anywhere.
When your whole family is going to Hawaii from all around the country, you kind of have to go anyway. And the other part of the family is getting married.
Yeah, my nephew's getting married, and then there's a sort of a family gathering. We usually gather in the summer with Dave's family. Anyway,
you guys don't
so
way
we're
too
doing
much
it in Maui.
But we'll see you guys next week, whatever it is, from Maui somewhere. Thanks for watching. We love you. Free the plant, free the people.
Yeah.
Pot for peace.
Cool. Thank you. Bye.
Murderers keep murdering, the churches keep a-burning, the rapists keep a-raping, and the tide ain't turning. Uncle Sam, for all your power, things get worse every hour. It seems to me your energy's all wasted, chasing my friends and me. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. The terrorists keep terrorizing, our leaders keep a-lying, the haters keep a-hating, and the planet's dying. Do what's proper, call off your dogs and your helicopters. The problems of society were not caused by my friends and me. So hey, Uncle Sam, hey there, Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. How many innocent people gonna be imprisoned? We just peace and love and sleep off and brotherhood freaks. A touch of Mother Nature never made nobody violent, never made nobody hate, nobody will break nobody's peace. It's never been shown to be harmful. Don't you tell me no lies with your caffeine, codeine, nicotine eyes. The cannabis ban is just recent, just since 1938 to re-legalize it, realize it. You made a big mistake. Hey, Uncle Sam, hey there, Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Leave us pot smokers alone.
This drug is dangerous. You cannot play with it. It's not funny. It's not something to laugh about. And trying to send that message with clarity that good people don't smoke marijuana.
Smoke weed every day.